Hey guys, welcome to the channel. As you see in the thumbnail, what if Issei died in Rebirth on his variation before killed by Raynare? Before I start, please do support for more awesome content, and subscribe my channel and like this video. Go support and follow the Untested Associate 24 for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story. Link in the description. Draken to his other variants when they first meet him again after his rebirth. Draken. Time is not the only thing that changes people, it's who you spend your time with, the influences that shape you, and the forces that push you to become what you are. I've changed, and that's all that matters. I don't need, nor do I care, for your approval or judgment. My path is my own, and I've walked it through fire and blood to become who I am now. Draken to Arcadia. Juniper and Gamer. Juniper. Arcadia. Juniper. You will always be a genocidal murderer. Draken. Rebirth. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn about your opinion. I've made peace with my past, even if you haven't. Draken to Arcadia. Juniper. Yes, I'm a murderer. But tell me, who was it that pushed me to that edge in the first place? He gives her a sharp side eye, his tone dripping with accusation. Gamer. Juniper. Will you attack us again? Draken. Rebirth. No. That's not the person I am anymore. I've left that darkness behind, and I have no intention of returning to it. Draken to Arcadia. Issei. Draken, you think I can't change? Arcadia. Well, news flash, I already have. I've done it before, and I'll do it again. Tell me this, if you had gone through what I did, would you have remained the same? Would you have just become a tool for Black Arms to fight against your own kind, or would you have fought to break free? To become something more? Draken to Rebirth. Mocha. Draken. Just so you know, I'm not a fountain for drinking. Keep your fangs to yourself. Rebirth. Mocha to Draken. Mocha, you shouldn't say that. You're really delicious, she teases him, licking her lips with a playful smirk. Draken to Rebirth. Mari. Draken, I may not be the same Issei that left that morning, but he asked me to make sure you're safe, and I'll keep that promise. You've grown on me, Mari. I consider you my older sister now, too. Rebirth. Mari to Draken. I'm happy to hear that, Issei. Draken. Just try not to burn everything down this time, okay? Draken. I'll try not to unless I'm severely annoyed. Then all bets are off. Draken to Rebirth. Surzex. Draken. What's wrong? Gonna cry for your whore of a sister, or are you finally ready to face the consequences of your family's actions? Rebirth. Surzex, I'll make sure you pay for this hiatu. Draken, that's what they all said and failed. Draken to Rebirth. Drake. Draken, you were my best friend in my old life. Hell, I even considered you my brother. So, seeing you alive again, it's something I can barely believe. I'm glad you're here, Drake. We've got a lot to catch up on. Draken to Rebirth. Hades. Draken, I know Persephone Snow, Mom's death was the reason you went down the path you did. Hating all Longinus wielders, shutting yourself off from the world, but just like in my past life, I brought her back. I went into purgatory, fought through hell itself, and brought her soul back to you, Dad. She's home now. What if Issei never lived in Kyoto but lived in Kyoto instead? What if he wasn't even human but a yokai-human hybrid? How would the story unfold for everyone involved in? Draken to Rebirth. Persephone. Draken, you were the light of Dad's world, Mom. That's why I took the risk again, why I went into purgatory to retrieve your soul. I couldn't let him suffer without you. Not again. Draken to Rebirth. Ophis. Draken, if you're willing to be friends again, despite all that I did in my previous life, I'd be happy to teach you again. Just like back then. You were always more than just a weapon, Ophis. You deserve to live freely. Draken to Rebirth. Great Red. Draken, oh Red. You best be mindful of where you perform your stunts. And watch your back, the beings that killed you once could always come back. I'd hate to see you fall again. Draken to Rebirth. Die. Draken, die. I'm going to make you suffer badly. Like a benign tumor, I'll surgically remove you from this world, ensuring that you never be the cancer you became. Rebirth. Die you. Go and die. Draken, you'll see how it feels first. Draken to Rebirth. Ray. Draken, I don't see you as my younger sister anymore, Ray. Haven't for decades, and that'll continue. Like die, I'll remove you and ensure your memory is never remembered by anyone. Rebirth. Ray, no please. Draken, witness, despair. Ray, Draken to rebirth. Goro, Draken, how does it feel, father, to be under my heel? It's just like back at Dai's wedding before I eliminated your existence permanently. That's what's going to happen here as well. Rebirth. Goro, damn you, I'll make sure you die here. Draken, that's some dream too bad you'll never see it happen. Draken to rebirth. Nix, Draken, Nix, you and Mocha were the only ones to give me love, and after you died, I had no one. But you're here, how about we start over? Rebirth. Nix, of course I see, together this time, no one will get in between us. Draken to Draken. Willow, Draken, I should tell you, Sensei, I always held the hope that one day the truth would come out, that you'd help me disprove the allegations, and what did you do? So don't blame me for the shit which happened, it was a consequence of your inaction. No wonder Weiss hated you, you're a failure of a parent, and a failure of a teacher. Draken. Willow, I know I failed you and I failed Weiss as well. An apology will never be enough for what you went through. Draken to the people living in his old world. Draken, what, still think that I'm a monster? I don't give about it, since this monster was created by your own actions, blind trust, and gullible nature. These words are true and will still hold. Villains are not born, they are created. Draken to Draken. Juniper, Draken, you created me, Juniper, by being a stupid gullible whore to that bastard husband of yours. You guaranteed your fall. And if you push me further, I'll make sure you fall in line and return to your position under me, seeing your children die at my hands yet again. Draken. Juniper, and no please. Draken to those who he fought in the final battle. Draken, you want to fight again? I can still kick your asses despite being in a weakened body. Gamer. Issei, we had destroyed you before and we will do it again. Draken, you destroyed me, ha? What a nice joke, Gamer. You all never destroyed me, it was my own power. Just think, if I had controlled that power, you won't be even alive. Draken to rebirth. Claire, Draken to Claire, and I thought you'd be different and be trustworthy. Claire, you killed my brother, low-born filth. Draken, and you'll join him, Birdie, that's the price you'll pay for trying to kill my sister. Draken. Newt to Draken. Draken. Newt, father, I understand that you went off the deep end because of me. But I want you back in my life. It's been lonely without you. Even Yukiko missed you. Draken, thank you, daughter. I missed you too. Draken to Arcadia. Issei, Draken, Arcadia, you and I are two sides of the same coin, a reflection of the other in the mirror. If you were in my situation, you'd have done the exact same thing. Draken to the Gamer and Arcadian variants. Draken, Gamer, you aren't the only one who's been either traveling or watching the multiverse. I've learned of a variant of you who became like me. But different, but that's for me to know and for you to find out the details. Grins, Draken to rebirth. Graphia, Draken, now then, why don't you wake up to reality, Supreme Commander Graphia Lucifuge. Rebirth. Graphia, no please. Draken to Gamer. Issei, Gamer. Juniper and Arcadia. Issei, Draken, one more thing. Watch out for a version that joined the Black Arms willingly because of a certain empress in that universe, and Carmilla capitalized on that. Smirks, and it seems I forced you to end the racist stance against the Four Kingdoms. About damn time you woke up and smelled the coffee. Park. Issei had just finished a date with his girlfriend, Yuma Amano, when they reached the central fountain of the park. They were holding hands, enjoying the evening, discussing how enjoyable their time had been. Issei, that was a fun date, wasn't it? Yuma, yes it was, but I have a question for you. Issei, sure, what is it? Yuma, revealing her true nature, will you die for me? Issei, huh? Yuma, with a sinister grin, will you die for me? Suddenly Yuma transformed, shedding her human guise to reveal her true form as a fallen angel. She was clad in thigh-high boots, a bra with leather straps, and a provocative bikini. She then hurled a spear of light at Issei, which struck him in the stomach, causing him to collapse in pain. She then hurled a spear of light at Issei, which struck him in the stomach, causing him to collapse in pain. Yuma, I couldn't let you become a threat to our plans. Your sacred gear could have been dangerous. Blame him for giving you that power. Issei lay bleeding by the fountain, coughing up blood, his voice weak with regret. Issei, I should have known it would end like this. Marine, I'm sorry, I'm not coming home tonight or ever. Thanks for being there for me, the best sibling anyone could ask for. As Issei felt life slipping away, an extraordinary event occurred. A surge of power coursed through him, revitalizing his failing body. I'm alive. That's an interesting twist after that battle in Arcadia against my variants. It seems this one has suffered the same fate as my past life and many of my counterparts. Well, time to heal this body. A green circle appeared over Issei's wound, healing it along with repairing his torn clothing. I still possess the power of the Infinity Stones. This is my third chance at life, and I won't let it go to waste. But considering where we are, those damned factions and their leaders are still out there. They'll pay for I am the Eternal Emperor Draken, and I have returned. Draken, now reacquainted with his new old body, noticed his eyes had returned to their characteristic red hue. Draken, however, this means Drake is here too, and I've got him with me. But I won't awaken him just yet. If he knew about my past, he might despise me for it. He then began to assess his situation. Draken, now, let's see if I can reclaim my old body. I can sense the icons, god keys, and infinity stones, but this body won't hold up for long if I don't do something. Using the space and time stones, Draken worked to reconstruct his former dragon god body, a process that was both complex and time-consuming but ultimately successful. Draken, well, that's good. My old body, magic, and equipment are restored. Soon the phone in who is now Draken's pocket rings with a notification. He then pulls it out as he thought out loud. Draken, I wonder who this is now. Message Mari. Draken, a Mari exists in this world, interesting. A few of my counterparts do have an older sister of the same name who cares about them, including my Arcadian gamer variant. And this variant does as well. She's probably one of the good people here, since from the memories I've seen, this variant of mine is treated like how I was along with my Arcadian, concept, prototype and other variants. Let's see what she has to say. Mari, I see where are you safe? It's getting late, get back home now. Draken, she does care very well for this variant, too bad I've taken over his body, but I won't harm her since she's proven to be a good constant to my variant in the universes in which she exists. Draken, I'll be there soon. Marine ran into an inconvenience. Mari, at least communicate it next time. Draken, sure. Draken put the phone in his pocket and walked away from the park heading back to the Haida home. Meanwhile, a white-haired Nico was trembling at the power exuded by Draken as he was reconstructing his body. Kaneko, Bucho and Dazenpei need to know about this, that his worthless pervert of a brother may have some worth after all. Unfortunately for her, Draken with his enhanced hearing was able to hear what she was saying, and he turned his sights to the specific tree where she was hiding. Draken, so the red-headed slut knew that this variant was likely to be killed by a fallen angel, and decided to do nothing. Too bad then, I'll deal with that then. Firstly, Draken formed a barrier over the park that was impenetrable by anyone who wasn't at his level, meaning only Ophis, Great Red, and his variants could penetrate the barrier if they ever appeared. Scene change. Co-Academy ORC Clubhouse. In the ORC, Rias was busy with paperwork when she noticed the sudden disappearance of Kaneko's piece. Rias, oh no, Kaneko. Akino, yes Bucho. Rias, we need to head to the park. I felt Kaneko's piece disappear. Akino was alarmed as she and Rias took off for the park. Minutes earlier, Draken went over to the tree where Kaneko was hiding with immense speed and burned the tree down with his apocalyptic flames, a byproduct of his dragon god body. Kaneko saw Draken standing in front of her with the tree burning to ashes as she fell on her ass. Draken, little cat, let's talk, shall we, about how you and your master left me to die. Kaneko, what do you want with me, you pervert? Draken, Dai's lies still persist here as well. Too bad, then it'll all come crashing down soon. You see, my brother's lies that I'm a perverted deviant do not hold any solid ground. Not that you will believe me anyway. But then tell me, why did you leave me to die? Draken aimed his flames at Kaneko, who was sweating bullets and shaking as her entire body was telling her that Draken was dangerous. Yeah, no shit Sherlock, and the flames could incinerate her with no issue. Kaneko, 3 was told to monitor you and that fallen angel. Draken, and not to step in if I were in danger. That's cute. Your master is a poor governor. I'll leave you off with a warning. Next time I will erase your being from existence. Am I clear? I've done so before and I can do it again. Kaneko was trembling at Draken in extreme fear before she nodded in extreme fear. Draken then dispelled his flames, but that didn't stop Kaneko's trembling as the Eternal Emperor was glaring daggers at her with a stare that could kill. Draken, are we clear, cat? Kaneko could only nod in fear as she never expected Draken to be that ferocious, and his eyes were red compared to being brown. Draken then dispelled the barrier and went on his way back home, assuming he still knew the way back. As he did and the barrier was dispelled, Rias, Akino, and Kiba reached her and saw her trembling in terror and fear. Dai wasn't present as he was required back home. Rias, Kaneko, are you okay? Kaneko, Bibucho. Rias, are you okay? I couldn't feel your piece's energy, and I feared the worst. Kaneko, Bibucho, Dai-senpai's brother, he's not the weakling we saw him as. Akino, what? What are you saying? He's the laughing stock of the school and the pervert, with disgust. Kaneko, then you don't know what I saw. Rias, let's go, we'll talk more in the ORC. I want to know every detail. Scene change. Hayate home. Draken arrived back at the accursed Hayate home. He knew that he had to keep some semblance of a low profile, knowing how power-hungry they were, but couldn't have Mari in the crossfire. Draken, back to this accursed house. Let's just get this over with. Draken then entered the house as Mari was waiting for him in the hallway. As she was the only one that truly cared for Issei, or now as he was Draken, she doted on him at times, but as he had come late, she was visibly upset at that and that he didn't notify her. Mari, and where were you? Issei? Draken took a detour. Marine. The date took longer than expected. Mari, really? Draken, yes. Mari, are you lying to me? Issei. Draken, damn it, Mari! No. Mari flinched a bit as Draken/Issei raised his voice, something which has never happened before. Draken, sorry for yelling, Mari. Mari relaxed her facial features as she put a hand on his shoulder, but wondered about the changed eye color. Mari, Issei, I'm aware that life isn't easy for us here. I want to leave here, but I can't leave you here alone, and if you come home this late, it makes me worry. Next time give me a heads up, K. Draken relaxed a bit as he saw that Mari was being genuine and worried about her little brother. However, considering he was in control of the body now, he wonders if she'd still see her little brother in him, though in his old universe he never had a Mari, just Milanoi and Mikaria, whom he lost extremely early. Draken, of course, Mari. Draken went up the stairs to his old room as Mari mused alone at his different behavior. Mari, what happened to you? Issei, why are your eyes red? You've never raised your voice at me. Draken overheard Mari musing out loud and mentally said to himself, Draken, if you knew what happened in my past life, you'd hate me. I'm practically a year old in a teenager's body. Draken entered the bedroom and formed a soundproof and impenetrable isolation barrier. Draken, alright then. Let's see if all my equipment is there. Draken began the excruciating process of removing everything from his body, removing each god key one by one, which was a very hard and painful process for Draken as they were encompassed within him. He had to take several minutes breaks in between removing each god key due to how much pain he was in removing each one until he removed all of them in his body. Then it came down to removing the last ones, which were the Star of Eden and the Judgment of Shamash. Draken, breathing heavily, arg, it was so easy to take them into my body, but since they were encompassed within it, removing them was a challenge, a painful one at that. Well then, I've got /out. Star of Eden and Judgment of Shamash left. Hours later, it was, and Draken had removed all god keys from his body as he had run himself into exhaustion doing so. Draken, ugh, that's it. All are out. Since the Infinity Stones are pretty much part of my being, are impossible to remove. I can use their powers as a full extension of my power. That was painful to say the least. I must say, I'm impressed your pain tolerance is that high, partner. Draken, what in Ophis and Great Red's name, how are you awake? Drake, you subconsciously awaken me whilst removing the god keys. I must say I'm impressed with your ingenuity. Draken, Drake, I can tell you aren't the original Issei Hayate but another version of him, since his soul is in here and he's not happy. Draken, my counterpart. I should say he was about to die and I saved his body. Rebirth. Issei, by taking it over. Draken, you do realize Gremory's cat was watching you, meaning she knew the Fallen were up to something with you and chose to do nothing. Tell me, How does your family treat you? How do your classmates at school treat you? Rebirth. Issei sighed, knowing how life has been for him. Draken, exactly, like shit. I can tell only your sister Mari cares for you and you do the same. Why? Rebirth. Issei, cause of my absence of a sacred gear or significant magic reserves, right? Draken word. I changed your body to be like my old one. Meaning you have the stamina, strength, speed, endurance and senses of a dragon god. Drake was shocked by the changes Draken has enacted to the body. At this point he was wondering how is it Draken had the body of a dragon god. Draken then suppressed Drake to absence as he entered the mindscape to talk to his counterpart. Rebirth. Issei, hey, where's the dragon? Draken, I suppressed him for now. I'm stronger than him so I can do that. I did it cause I wanted to talk to you alone. Rebirth. Issei, what are you going to destroy my soul, now that you've taken over my body? Draken, not really my counterpart. I'm just another you. I'll need you here as well, since you can guide me into your world. I want to see how things work out here and especially your relationship with your sister since I can tell you care for each other. I'm not going to hurt her. Rebirth. Issei, how did you even take over my body? Draken, not sure. I died in my last life in a battle against several of my other counterparts. I wanted to take over the multiverse. Rebirth. Issei, why? Draken, it's a long story. I'd rather show you, may I? Rebirth. Issei, sure. Draken then showed his rebirth counterpart all his memories from the beginning, to being murdered by Raynare, the Kokobile saga, the trip to Kyoto, demonic beast riots, vampire civil war, evil dragon war, sealing of Trihexa. Rebirth. Issei, all of that happened, that's ing crazy. And to think it all started with Yuma killing me. Draken, her name isn't Yuma, it's Raynare, and yes, for most if not all of our counterparts, their story started with her murdering us. Rebirth. Issei, but then you did all that, you saved everyone in the whole world, you must have been some big hero, right? Draken had a sour look on his face, knowing what had happened. Rebirth. Issei, right, Draken, it's better if you see for yourself. Draken showed Rebirth how Dai and Ray with the assistance of Rias and others had framed him as being a glory jogger and took the credit for all his actions, turning everyone against him, including several of the people who he had once loved in Asia, Irina, Ravel, Yasaka, Gabriel, and finally and most painfully Ingvild. How Dai turned entire factions against with his word being the pillar of the factions. And how he even tried to kill him with Samuel's venom when he stabbed Draken in the back, but survived thanks to Drake and his predecessor hosts giving themselves up to survive and buying enough time for Great Red and Ophis to build him a dragon god body. Rebirth. Issei, that lying, manipulative, conniving piece of shit. You're saying I, or in this case you, did all the work and he took all the credit? And he stabbed you in the back. What kind of brother is he? Draken, you're getting it. Even the Hayadu enabled this behavior. I can't even stand seeing them without not having restrained myself from killing them. But then yeah, he's a snake to say the least. He makes the snake that deceived Eve look pale in comparison, and Cain like a saint. Rebirth. Issei, what about Marine? I never see her in those memories. Draken, in that universe, and others some more. Mari never existed. It was our counterparts and myself who were the oldest sibling. In the few where she does exist and is a doting caring sister for our counterparts, including yours. Rebirth. Issei, I hope you take good care of her. Draken, right? Draken, yeah, I dropped my name years ago and took Draken. Rebirth. Issei, why Draken? Draken, and here comes the next part of my story. Draken showed Rebirth. Issei the relationships he was able to form, from his parent-child relationship with Hades and Persephone to the sibling relationship he had with Milanoe and Macaria, and finally the romantic budding relationship with Nyx and Mocha, along with teaching Ophis emotions. Rebirth. Issei, wow, at least there was some semblance of happiness. So what happened? Draken, I hate having to remember and recall that day. The factions wanted to give Dai my sacred gear, your sacred gear, the boosted gear, the one which is Drake, and so they wanted to kill me for it. Mom, Persephone, Dad, Hades, Milanoe, Macaria, Nyx and Mocha all were killed to protect me and help me escape them. I was left alone with Drake, and I was in another planet called Remnant, and an empire called Arcadia. I started over there. Rebirth. Issei. And what happened from there? Draken. A lot of shit. I settled there, was made a citizen, went to the schools there where I finished my education. After graduating, I joined the military, and then the civil war began. Rebirth. Issei. A civil war? Why? Draken, the husband or ex-husband of the Empress, wanted to rule Arcadia like a dictatorship. Honestly, I'd rather you see the memories. I hate recalling the memories in Arcadia in words more. Do you mind that? Rebirth. Issei. Sure. Draken then showed his memories of the Civil War, how he was framed for the gas attacks on civilians which killed many, and he wasn't given a chance to defend himself. Even his mentors Willow and En couldn't do anything. Exiled to the Outlands, but held on to the hope that he'd be proven correct and exonerated. The Black Arms capturing him in the Outlands, taking him hostage, and Carmilla experimenting on him to make him break, but holding on to hope. Until Carmilla killed Drake by destroying his soul. Issei was mortified. Rebirth. That fruit-haired bitch killed the dragon. Drake, your only friend remaining, breaking what's left of you, and basically you became a part of the Black Arms. Draken. Yes, I was critical to their victory in the Civil War. The god keys I created, which are now sprawled on the bed, were part of that. I killed most of the 1-5, which was the Arcadian Prince's unit. Eventually the truth did come to light that I was not responsible for the gas attacks, and it was Nicholas Arc, or Cain, the Emperor of Arcadia, but it was already too late. I was essentially the Arcadians' biggest mistake and worst nightmare combined. I had the order to kill any and every Arc. And I did so with efficiency. But with the Arc siblings, the former Empress children, I took it to another level. Whilst they tried to apologize and bring me back to their side, it was futile. I was hell-bent on killing all of them, and as I killed the Arc sisters, I took their icons into my being, making myself stronger with each Arc sibling I killed. I killed the Arc elders until none were left. We won the Civil War within 3 years, with me being the main cog that proved decisive. At the end of it, I turned on Nicholas and Vlad, revealing I was broken in my own way and that I was still going to kill every Arc, even the pair of them. Then I lured in Carmilla and Frisia, killing them both, and taking leadership of the Black Arms. I besmirched the Arcs, making them pariahs. I united Arcadia and the kingdoms outside of it into one greater Arcadian empire. I ruled all of Remnant by then. But I had a rebellion with my former teacher Willow and Holly Madison being part of it, and an inter-universal interference from others. Rebirth. Issei. What happened to the former Empress of Arcadia? Draken. I beat her and broke her, using the same nerve toxins which were used on me to break her. I made her see her children die again and again. That made her fall in line to my commands. Then I took several people as my top officers, such as Weiss Schnee, Willow's daughter, who hated her for leaving them to their father Jacques Jackass Schnee's abuse, Adam Taurus, the former leader of the White Fang, a Faunus Freedom Movement, and Scarlett Madison, the younger sister of Holly Madison. She had an axe to grind with Holly. I had mostly crushed the rebellion, but then I abandoned my crusade when my adopted daughter Newt got hurt badly. Yukiko took care of her for me. I ruled Arcadia for more than a decade and a half. Then I saw the multiverse, how other versions of me were happy, and I felt I had to take over it as well. But beforehand I came back to my Earth and took down the factions, exposing them to humanity and executing one of the leaders in front of the human world. I took Ria's sister-in-law as an officer of mine as well after I forced her to kill her son in front of her husband, who is Ria's brother, and the false devil King Lucifer. The real Satans and God died in the Great War. Rebirth. Issei. What? Draken. Yes. Rebirth. Issei. Wow. So then what led to your death? Draken. Me wanting to take over the multiverse. I refused the help of my other counterparts, and died in an explosion after our battle. Rebirth. Issei. And that led you to take over my body? Draken. Yes. I can't destroy your soul, it's your body, and I may need your consult at times. Rebirth. Issei. It's fine, but please take care of Mari, she does care about our well-being. Draken. Of course. Rebirth. Issei then hugged Draken out of the blue, which he didn't know how to react to, but reciprocated it. Draken, do me a favor. Don't tell Drake what we've discussed. I still need to come to terms with him alive again, and I'm sure he'd hate me if he knew of my actions. I'm still debating telling him and reawakening his memories from my past life. Rebirth. Issei, of course, you've got my word other me. Draken, thanks. We'll talk another time. Rebirth. Issei, sure. Scene change out of mindscape. Draken then woke up from the mindscape as the pain of removing the god keys was still lingering in him. He then took the keys and created a pocket dimension for them, where they'd be safe and away from anyone. Draken, ugh. Back to hell soon. I didn't get a wink of it though. I don't need to sleep. Drake, so what was that about you shutting me away? Draken, you wouldn't understand. Drake, then tell me. Draken, not now. Drake. Don't you need to sleep or something? Drake just went to sleep as Draken just sat at the base of the bed thinking before he had a sinister smile on his face. Draken, I'll deal with all of them early. Let's see how they do once I've surgically removed all of them. Starting with that redhead's peerage, Draken changed his hair color back to its previous tint in his past life, which was a blackish tint. He then prepared for school under his counterpart's routine. Draken, this world doesn't know what beast they are about to see. Draken stood in front of the mirror, his reflection staring back at him with an air of quiet intensity. He had just finished freshening up and changing into the Academy uniform, a garment he hadn't worn in decades. Despite not having slept a wink after the grueling process of removing the god keys from his body, he showed no signs of fatigue. His energy was boundless, his focus razor sharp. The body he now occupied had been present at the Academy the previous Friday, but Draken himself hadn't set foot in that place for what felt like an eternity. As he adjusted the uniform, a twitch of annoyance crossed his face. The crisp black shirt, white blazer, and tie felt like relics of a past he'd rather forget. He muttered under his breath, his voice laced with irritation. Going back to that hellhole, it's just annoying, Draken said, his crimson eyes narrowing slightly as he glanced at his reflection. From within his mind, the voice of Rebirth. Issei chimed in, carrying a tone of bitter familiarity. You have no idea, Draken. Trust me, it's worse than you remember. Draken raised an eyebrow, intrigued despite himself. Tell me, how specific is your bad treatment there? I'm curious. Rebirth. Issei sighed, his voice tinged with frustration. I can confidently say my grades surpassed that useless student council president. But it doesn't matter. Everything I achieve is overshadowed by the lies they've spread about me. No matter what I do, they twist it into something ugly. They've painted me as some kind of pervert, a delinquent, even though I've done nothing to deserve it. It's like they've made it their mission to ruin my reputation. Draken smirked faintly, a hint of approval in his expression. Impressive. At least you've got the brains to back yourself up. Most people would have crumbled under that kind of pressure. Rebirth. Issei chuckled dryly. Nothing feels that impressive anymore, not after what I've seen from you, Draken. You've set the bar well, beyond anything I could have imagined. The things you've done, the power you wield, it's on a completely different level. Draken shrugged nonchalantly, his crimson eyes glinting with a mix of amusement and arrogance. Yeah, you get used to it. Power becomes second nature after a while. But don't let it intimidate you. You've got potential, Issei. You just need to tap into it. Though I'm using your body now, I'll bring out its full potential. There was a brief pause before Rebirth. Issei spoke again, his tone more serious. So, what's your plan? You're not just going back to Ko for the nostalgia, are you? Draken's smirk widened, a predatory gleam in his eyes. I know that Redhead Rias will send her wannabe knight to fetch me after school. But I'm not interested in playing her games. If she's told Citri what I warned the cat about, I'm expecting Sona to send one of her pawns to corner me. But let me make one thing clear, I'm not going to abide by their rules or their whims. Honestly, I'd love to erase them all right now, but where's the fun in that? I'll take my time with them unless they push me too far. Rebirth. Issei let out a low whistle, clearly impressed by Draken's confidence. Well, I'll leave you to it then. Just try not to burn the whole place down yet. Draken chuckled darkly as he finished adjusting his uniform. He slipped on a pair of white sneakers, the casual footwear contrasting sharply with the formal attire. His reflection in the mirror showed a young man with a changed hair to sleek and modern and eyes that now glowed a vivid crimson red, a stark departure from his previous appearance. He gave himself one last glance, ensuring everything was in place, before heading downstairs. In the kitchen, Mari was busy preparing breakfast, the aroma of freshly cooked food filling the air. She had already noticed subtle changes in her brother since the previous night. His demeanor, his present seat all felt different. She couldn't shake the feeling that something supernatural had occurred, though she couldn't quite put her finger on it. And now, as he descended the stairs, she noticed another change. His hair color was slightly altered, darker and more striking than before. "Morning, Issei," Mari greeted him, her voice warm but laced with concern. She studied him carefully, trying to gauge his mood. "Morning, Mari," Draken replied, his tone calm and collected as he took a seat at the table. "How'd you sleep?" she asked, placing a plate of breakfast in front of him. "I slept fine," Draken answered simply, not elaborating further. He picked up his fork and began eating, his movements deliberate and unhurried, though he was lying about sleeping. Mari hesitated for a moment before speaking again. "Here's your breakfast. I made your favorites." Draken glanced up at her, his crimson eyes meeting hers. "Thanks," he said, his voice soft but distant. As he ate, Mari couldn't help but feel a growing sense of unease. The brother she knew seemed different, almost like a stranger. She wanted to ask him more, to probe into what had happened, but something in his demeanor stopped her. There was an air of authority around him now, a quiet intensity that made her think twice before speaking. "Is everything okay, Issei?" she finally asked, unable to hold back her concern any longer. "You seem different today." Draken paused, his fork hovering over his plate for a moment before he set it down. He looked at her, his crimson eyes piercing yet calm. "Everything's fine, Mari. Just a lot on my mind. Don't worry about me." Mari nodded slowly, though her worry didn't dissipate. "All right, just know that if you need to talk, I'm here." Draken gave her a small, almost imperceptible smile. "I know. Thanks." Mari with a sigh said, "I know you don't want to know or hear about them, but the rest of the family is returning today. I'm pretty sure Dai and Ray will already be at school." Draken froze up and had a narrowed look at Mari before turning to an uncaring yet disdainful look. "Okay. Couldn't really give a shit about them." Mari held the same sentiment as Draken but cautioned him on his language. "Watch your language, Issei." Draken just continued to eat his breakfast before finishing up. "Thanks for the meal. I'm off." Mari wished him well. "Have a good day." As he finished his breakfast and stood to leave, Mari watched him go, a mixture of concern and curiosity etched on her face. Draken, however, didn't look back. His mind was already elsewhere, focused on the day ahead and the plans he had set in motion. The game was just beginning, and he intended to play it on his own terms. Whether it was Rias, Sona, or anyone else who dared to cross him, Draken was prepared to show them exactly why they should think twice before messing with him. With a final adjustment of his blazer, he stepped out the door, the morning sun casting long shadows behind him. Ku Academy awaited, and with it, a host of challenges he was more than ready to face. The stage was set, and Draken was ready to make his move. It took Draken less than minutes to walk from home to the academy, to which he reacquainted himself with the Ku landscape as he made his way to the academy. As he did, he made out the numerous areas where supernatural activity would occur. The abandoned warehouse and the abandoned church, the foremost centers for supernatural activity in town outside of the school. He continued to scan the town until he was less than meters from the school where students were entering the school. As he entered the precinct of the school, many students gave him a look of disgust as they whispered to themselves and their friends. "There goes the pervert. Seriously, can't he just die? He's nothing like Daikun or Ray-chan. How is it they are related? He should be expelled from the school." Draken ignored the comments as he saw Sona Citri standing in front of him with a stern look as the student council stood behind her. Draken ignored the comments as he saw Sona Citri standing in front of him with a stern look as the student council stood behind her. The Citri peerage. Sona Citri, younger sister to the Siskan false devil king Seraphal Leviathan. She would be the smartest in the school. That's if you were a dumb idiot other me. Issei took offense to Draken's statement. "Hey! Why am I catching strays?" No reason. As he walked past her, she narrowed her eyes at him, and wondered how his eyes were now crimson as he did the same, his crimson eyes narrowing to draconic slits as she felt an oppressive aura around him which made her scared. "Hayadu," she called out. He walked past her without giving her any attention at all. The other members glared at him for ignoring Sona as she was having her own thoughts. Since when did he have crimson eyes, and what was that aura around him? Rias is right. He must have had an encounter with the fallen angel and survived. I need to bring him in for questioning. Sona called out to the younger Hayada twin. "Kaicho, I want you to bring your brother to the student council at lunchtime. There is something I wish to talk to him about." Ray was wondering what Sona wanted with Draken but agreed. Of course, Kaicho. Of course, Kaicho." Ray Hayadu. Draken made his way up the stairs as he walked by Rias Gremory. He was managing to barely keep his cool and not kill her on the spot. She smirked at him as he walked past, feeling the stare and smile. He released a small amount of aura that could be felt by her only, which made her stagger, which shocked her. "That's for leaving me to die, bitch. There'll be hell to pay for that, bat." She didn't hear his statement of disdain as he walked up the stairs to the second floor to his class. What was that aura? It couldn't be him. Was Kaneko right about him? I need to question him later. As she saw him gone from the stairs. He may be a valuable but disposable piece. And what's with his eye color? He never had red eyes, and his aura is more of a dragon's. Draken's eye was twitching. It was technically his first day back and he was already losing patience. "Calm down, Draken. Geez, I can see your thoughts and you have a million ways to torture her," Issei said in his head. "Bitch deserves every single method I'm thinking about." Issei laughed a bit as Drake chimed in. "What did she do to deserve your ire?" Partner Draken responded, "Leaving me or him to die to the crow. Which reminds me, I'm dealing with our crow infestation soon." Draken arrived at his class to the stares of everyone as many looked at him with disdain. Though they wondered what's with the changes from his hair to even his eye color. Well, what's with the changes?" Hayadu asked Kates with a scornful glare, the Kendo captain. "Trying to swoon us over? Forget it. It's never going to happen. You'll always be known as the pervert of the school. You won't compare to your brother Daikun." Draken was starting to lose his patience and wanted to burn Kates on the spot, but calmed down enough to give a response. "What are you going to do about that? Cataslut beat me, I'll put you in the ground faster than you can blink. Don't think that I've taken your abuse long enough that I'll be a pushover. I will pummel you so hard, you can forget about being on the Kendo team. You'll be on a wheelchair for the rest of your life." Draken's eyes constricted as the crimson hue of his pupils became more prominent. That made Kates afraid, as she felt a suffocating air of pressure surrounding Draken. Now, let's all calm down now, brother. You know she's telling the truth." A condescending voice spoke out. Draken recognized it from anywhere. And one of the people he wanted to make suffer the most was in front of him. "Dai, what do you want?" Draken asked in an emotionless voice. "Dai Hayadu, I've heard from Ray how you made changes to yourself, and I was wondering how true it was considering you are the pervert of this school." Dai continued to speak. "Really, you think this will change everyone's opinion of you? Don't dream big." Draken was becoming angrier with every second with rebirth. Issei mentally telling him to calm down. Draken then stood up from his seat and Dai was intimidated by Draken, as Draken was just over whilst Dai was just over. "Dai, I'm warning you this once, leave me alone, or I'll make sure that you never walk again." Draken warned him in a venomous tone as Dai scoffed and walked away. Ray was watching with curiosity since she had to bring Draken to Sona at lunch. Dai walked to Ray and the younger twins talked as Dai. "Since when is he different? The hair color, his height change, his eyes, I feel a certain pressure with him. He doesn't have a sacred gear or magic with him." Ray answered her twin brother, "I'm not sure. This morning Sonakacha told me to bring him to the office. I'm not sure for what though." Dai answered, "Let's leave it. The teacher is coming in." The teacher for Class B entered with a stack of papers and a scowl on her face as most of the students groaned as they knew what was about to happen as she slammed them on her table. "Most of you performed dismally on the test you wrote on Friday, and I'm very disappointed with that. You need to prepare better for future tests. Here are your results." The teacher began walking around handing the class their test papers and most of them had their head in hands seeing the results. "Dai Hayadu %, well done." Dai smirked as he winked at the teacher, causing her to momentarily blush before moving on. "That shithead is still sleeping with teachers, huh?" Draken mused. "Wait, what the? That's set up." Rebirth responded in shock. Yup, he was sleeping with teachers and the redhead and her friends were covering it up. Draken stated to Rebirth. Issei, as he was disgusted by Dai. Ray Hayadu, watch for minor mistakes, that costs you a few marks but well done. The teacher continued to move around with the papers until she got to Draken, where she was shocked at the result and scowled. Issei Hayadu, the teacher said with a scowl on her face as she slammed the paper on his desk. The other students looked shocked as well. Draken had one eye closed as it was slammed on his desk. Congratulations on being top, she said with an angry look. Draken had a chuckle as Rebirth. Issei had reiterated that Koa's papers were being marked by external moderators due to scandals recently, and most of them involved him due to unfair and biased judgment on his papers, which explained Rebirth why he was the top student in the school and not Sona, which made the third years furious. That's a great outcome, compared to other times where I got cheated out of the results, and I had to appeal multiple times. Marine helped me with that. Rebirth. Issei, these heirs will be biased against you due to the lies made against you. Draken mentally said. True. Class started as the teacher went ahead with the lessons as half the class still glared at Draken, who didn't give much of a shit about them. At lunch, Draken had swung his lunch over his back when Ray stood in front of him with a neutral look. What do you want, Ray? Draken asked with an emotionless tone as he looked at Ray, as his crimson eyes were staring into her soul as she felt a bit of fear. Sonikachu wants you to see her now. Draken chuckled a bit before responding to his younger sister. No. Ray was taken aback by the straight rejection, but before she could retort, Draken continued, if she wants to see me, she call me herself. Just because she's the president doesn't mean I need to do as she says. In fact, she'll find me. Now I need to enjoy my lunch. Draken brushed against Ray as she started feeling an aura of oppression over Draken which made her shiver in fear. Scene change. Hayata home. At the Hayata home, Mickey and Gora had returned from their trip as they were sat in the living room. Meanwhile, Mari was in her bedroom still wondering what's changed with Issei. Issei didn't have before red eyes. What's changed with him? His energy is totally different, it's become more authoritative. Mari knew how their lives were extremely difficult due to their apparent lack of sacred gears or considerable magic reserves, but she knew that the change only started after the date he went to. But she was worried that he had made a supernatural encounter. Mari looked to her hands as she summoned her gears, Telos, Karma and Innovate Clear, which she unlocked due to a date gone wrong and was almost killed by a fallen angel. I hope nothing bad happened to you, Issei. Scene change. Ko Academy. Draken was sat under a tree as he was eating his lunch. This is good. Draken mused whilst eating. Yeah, Marine usually makes the lunch for me whenever she's in town, and her cooking is really good. But mind telling me what's with the Diet Coke Rebirth? Issei asked Draken. It's an acquired taste, other me. Once you get used to it, it's the only thing you'll want. Interesting. Draken's eyes widened as he felt something coming at him with speed as he slowed down time and saw a kendo stick flying at him before ducking the hit, and time resumed at normal speed. His eyes soon narrowed down in anger seeing the people who attempted to assault him. It was the Kendo Club. Hayadu, we warned you and you don't listen, now we'll put you in the hospital. Hayadu, we warned you and you don't listen. Now we'll put you in the hospital. Remove Issei from the photo and think the Kendo Club has surrounded him / Draken. Draken then had a malicious smile on his face as he held a kendo stick in his hands and was going to teach the Kendo Club a lesson with it. Be careful what you ask for, bitches, you going to get it, and more from me. Drake and Rebirth. Issei were worried about what was going to happen, especially Rebirth having seen what his counterpart is capable of doing. Drake, because he's aware that Draken has a dragon god's body, so knew his physical strength was through the roof, whilst he still had questions on how he had that body. The malicious smile Draken has on his face. Ko Academy. As the Kendo Club surrounded Draken all with their shurnai in hand, the former Arcadian emperor had a malicious and sadistic smile on his face as he held the shurnai he was attacked with in his hand, intent on causing a lot of pain to them. Come on, bitches, bring it. I will make sure that you'll know to not with me. The Kendo Club glared at Draken as he challenged them. Two of the Kendo Club members rushed him, aiming to hit him straight to the head. But Draken was light on his feet and quick with his reflexes as he swung with a reduced amount of power, aimed at breaking bones, not killing them, as even with a Shurnai, he could kill them. When Draken's Shurnai made an impact with the first two girls, he made sure to hit them multiple times to break several bones. As the Shurnai made its first impact, the screams of pain were more than evident. Draken was swift and quick as he flipped over them, crack, crack, breaking the first two girls' arms and legs, as they went down screaming in pain, for others attacked him as they came in swinging recklessly to try and inflict pain on him for injuring their fellow Kendo members. Is this what the great Kendo club of Ko Academy is all about? Hurting me, huh? Damn you, pervert! As more of the Kendo girls ganged up on him to hurt him, Draken swung at their ribs and hurt them badly as they coughed blood from the Shurnai strikes from Draken, before aiming for their legs, shattering their femurs or tibia and fibula. Then only Yui Keites and Kaori Murayama were the only ones remaining as they looked at Draken with anger for hurting their teammates. You damn pervert! How dare you hurt them? Kaori shouted at Draken. 'Cause they were trying to hurt me for stupid reasons. You should check properly before making assumptions, bitches. Draken calmly responded, though he was slowly losing patience. Now come on, you want to beat me, now's your chance, but be warned, you'll end up in the hospital if you don't, at best and at worst dead. Why you? Yui rushed at Draken, swinging with anger as Draken was having a sadistic smirk on his face. Come on, whores! Draken taunted. Kaori was offended and entered the fight as Draken strengthened his grip on the Shurnai, making it shatter around his hand, which took them back in shock. He then swung attacks at them with the intent to kill as his eyes turned a darker crimson as he hit Keites, breaking a rib. Then Murayama tried hitting from behind, which he noticed immediately, and jabbed at her with the Shurnai, then swung at her. Crack, he broke her right arm with the impact of the Shurnai, which made her scream in pain. At this point, students were gathered around the fight scene where people were taking video footage of the fight. Others were in shock at the way Draken was handling the Kendo club. Draken then hit Murayama with a force that broke her leg and left her screaming in pain, and smashed the Shurnai over her back, fracturing a vertebral bone in the process. As she dropped her Shurnai, Draken kicked her in her face, knocking her out. The student council soon arrived, and Draken put in the final nail to the coffin by doing that same thing to Keites. Hayate! Stop this! Sona demanded with a fierce glare. Hearing the voice of the president, Draken turned his sights to her as he walked to her, Shurnai in hand. And if I continue, what are you going to do about it? Those whores had it coming for a very long time. Draken gave an equally fierce glare at Sona, which made her shiver. He then shoved the Shurnai at her. I acted in full self-defense. If you want proof, ask them to show you the uncut video. But knowing them, they'll show you one side of the story, Draken venomously said. As he was walking away, after picking up his lunch bag, Saji grabbed his arm and he glared at Draken, who had a malicious smile. Boy, you are brave to do that. Saji only glared at him as he responded, Kaicho wants you to come to her office. Draken cut him off and responded, and if I don't, what is she going to do? Call Big Sister Leviathan? I'd suggest you don't touch me. The next time you do so, you're losing an arm. Draken walked away, flipping the council off as they were shocked that he knew of Seraphol. Saji, however, was scared due to the glare Draken gave him as he pissed his pants, feeling as if a predator was watching him. A number of ambulances were called for the Kendo club as Sona was wondering how he knew about Seraphol. Tsubaki, her queen, said to her Kaicho, should we call Lady Leviathan? He may be a threat to us. Sona looked at Tsubaki with a contemplating look. No, Tsubaki, we'll deal with it on our own. He's not that big of a threat. Draken returned to class after the lunch break, cracking his fingers as the other students had faces of fear looking at him. Man, you made the Sona simp piss himself. Rebirth, Issei said to Draken. Seriously, I didn't notice. Haha, wow, Draken internally laughed. And that's supposed to be Vitra's host. I'm disappointed and disgusted by him. Seems like he'd shit himself if I decided to actually fight properly, Draken mused. Class continues as other students backed away from Draken, not wanting to suffer the same fate as the Kendo club. As school ended, Kiba came to the class and saw Draken. The other students were scared for Kiba as he approached Draken. Class B, Issei Hayate, Kiba asked. Draken took a deep breath before answering Kiba. Yeah, who the is asking, Dai's gay lover. Rebirth. Issei cackled like a hyena at the roast. The other students glared at Draken, but he didn't give a shit. Kiba frowned at the insult, but quickly steeled himself. My president Rias Gr. Draken quickly cut him as he said, yeah, don't really care who wants to see me. Tell her she can shove her invite up her ass or masturbate with it. Maybe that'll break her marriage with Riser. I don't give a shit about what she wants. Piss off. False knight. The other students had their jaws drop at the insult. Kiba was infuriated at the insults Draken was spewing, but had to keep his calm and was also shocked that he knew about the arranged marriage. Draken had already left by the time he turned to retort. Draken walked home, after scouting out the church from a high vantage point in the hills and planning out how he was going to make them suffer badly for killing his counterpart. As he then arrived home, Mickey and Goro were not present as they went out, but Mari was, so he first saw her as he arrived. Mari, I'm back. Welcome back, Issei. How was school? Draken shook his head as he exasperated. Not good. Mari, being the caring older sister, pressed further. False accusations again, a lot more than that. But it's fine, I dealt with it, Draken answered vaguely. Mari's brows furrowed as he wasn't answering her fully but vaguely. Anything you'd want to talk about? Draken responded, not really, I'll be in my room. Mari nodded as she watched Draken head upstairs. She was getting worried. In her point of view, Issei was always open with her in terms of his day and how it went. But as she mused, ever since that date, he's changed. First, how his eyes went from brown to red, his demeanor, how he carried himself had all changed. I see, what happened to you? Draken went to his room as he put his bag down and changed into his casual clothing and started planning out his raid on the church, getting every detail correct from the entrance to the underground cellar. You see, other me, the underground cellar is where that witch would be held, but she's not here yet. Draken spoke to his counterpart as he planned about. The witch of the Catholic Church, Asia Argento. If we come across her, what are you going to do? I'll tear her apart, it's the least she deserves. Draken mused. Drake put in his 2 cents, as he listened quietly. What did she do to you? Draken answered his partner with apathy. Nothing you need to know about Drake, the Welsh dragon growled as Draken kept his thoughts down to himself. Sorry, Drake, but I'm still coming to terms with you being alive, brother. It's been so long without you, I just don't know what to do or say to you. I'm sure you'd hate me once you learn of the things I did after you died. Meanwhile, Mari, worried about her brother's changes, bugged his bedroom with a hidden listening device as she heard what he was saying. What's with the church, and Drake? You're the Red Dragon Emperor, I see. Geez, what in the... Guess I'll be following you to the church later. I can get answers from you then. Hours later, Mickey and Goro returned home, and they were in a mood, after receiving a call from Ko Academy regarding Issei, Draken's actions at the school, as he had brutally beaten the Kendo club to the hospital, breaking their limbs in turn. Issei! Issei! Get down here now! Goro shouted in anger. Draken took his time to walk down as Ray and Dai were seated in the living room already, just watching the confrontation between their older brother and father. Why in the are you shouting? It's at night, Draken said with a lot of restraint, not trying to burn down the house immediately because of their presence. Mari was sat on the stairs listening on. I've got another complaint about you. This time you assaulted the Kendo club. What in the is your problem? Can't you be like Dai or Ray? Goro shouted with anger. Don't shout at me. Those whores deserve that beating. Acting as if they are the ING morality police, but you won't even give about my side. All you need is one side, and that's enough for you, ain't that right? Watch your tone when speaking to your father. Mickey jumped into the conversation with a shrill tone of voice. Or what? Gonna mistreat me, punish me? As if you hadn't done enough to be a failure of a father and mother to me and Mari. The only mistake Grandpa ever made was having you head the clan, when it should have skipped a generation, jumping, you, Kiyomi, Mickey and Koriga, and went to Mari immediately. Goro was about to fight with Draken when Mari stepped in to calm everything down. Stop. Why is there a need for this? Goro glared at Mari as he told her this doesn't involve you. Leave. Mari rejected that notion. He's right, you always listen to one side of the damn story. You always believe outsiders over your own family. What bullshit is that? What happened to the family first, or is that just some stupid facade? He is literally the top academic performer in the ING school, but what comes out from there? He's a pervert, he's a degenerate, he's peeking on girls. Have you independently verified those claims, or you just hear what you hear like and let other things go in one ear and out the other like it's a game of broken ing telephone? Have you asked him his side of the story? And you two, pointing at Dai and Ray, you are also key in this. He's your older brother. But you don't even disprove the claims. What kind of siblings are you? Mickey slapped Mari as she stumbled backwards from it as Draken glared at her for that move, and she got scared of the glare as she thought, since when did he have red eyes and a darker demeanor? Gora noticed it as well and had a shiver running up his spine as he then noticed that Draken had a more commanding air, which was different to when they left. You've crossed the line by laying your hands on her. Draken's energy began to rise as he moved Mari behind him to shield her as draconic magic began to gather at his hands, shocking Mickey, Goru, Dai and Ray. Dai and Ray summoned their sacred gears, the Crescent Circle gauntlets and Chaos Talon respectively. How, you damned disgrace! How do you have magic? You're weak! Goru shouted at Draken, who just gave a slight smirk. Not like you deserve an answer, old man. Dai and Ray rushed to attack Draken but didn't get far to even land a punch on him as Fire launched a tirade of draconic fire magic at them, blowing them away. Mickey and Gora conjured their own magic circles, but Draken's magical energy overwhelmed them as he went for Gora first. Draken landed several heavy blows on him, and he broke his arm with a weighted foot stomp on his left arm. That's for being a poor father. Ah! Gora screamed in pain of his arm being broken. Mickey couldn't even see what happened as Gora was hit with a knee strike to the jaw, dislocating it. Draken then faced up to her as he began punching her in the face and kneeing several times in the gut, making her vomit blood. You're a failure of a mother, Mickey. As parents you're supposed to love your children unconditionally, but you are the epitome of failed parents. You make me sick. Draken then froze her legs to induce frostbite at a quick pace. Damn you! Dai shouted from across the room as he attacked Draken with his Crescent Circle Balance Breaker, Ray with the Chaos Karma Balance Breaker. But against Draken, it was no use as he quickly dispatched them quickly, hitting them against the wall, injuring them in the process. Mari held Draken by his shoulder as she said, I see, that's enough. Draken's magic reduced in intensity as he looked at the damage he caused. The four Hyade didn't even land a single blow on him. Mari, nay, I'd suggest we move out of here. Get packing, I've got an apartment we can use in Ko. Really? Mari asked. Yeah, get packing, I'll watch them. As Mari was packing, Draken just looked at them as they glared at him with tears. What's wrong? I thought Marine and I were disgraces to you for not having a sacred gear or magic. What do you have to say now? Gora glared at him with anger and responded, damn you, Issei. You'll pay for this. Draken chuckled as Gora got angrier. What are you laughing for? Draken's face turned to him with a wicked smile. You really think that you'll beat me? Not even in your best dreams or worst nightmares will that happen. Mari then came down with both hers and Draken's belongings packed and placed in a dimensional space. I see, I'm done. Draken gave a soft smile to Mari as he said, alright, let's go Marine, we're done here, with this useless family. Draken gave one more look of apathy as his eyes began to glow brightly as he gave one more warning. If you bother me or Marine again, I will eradicate you from existence without a trace, no afterlife and all. He exuded his aura to emphasize his point, and the Hyade had fear in their hearts and eyes as they saw a large dragon behind Draken. The elder siblings then left in a teleportation circle. I don't own this GIF. Hours later, Ko abandoned church. Draken flew out of his window to the abandoned church as Mari watched him fly away. She snuck out the window and followed him. She was dumbstruck to see him flying with dragon wings as she kept up pace with him, until she reached the perimeter of the abandoned church as she saw Draken standing in front of the church with two fallen angels standing in front of him. Aren't you the brat? Raynare was supposed to kill the blue-haired fallen who was wearing a red mini-skirt and jacket with no other clothing, angel said in a snarky tone as Draken had a stoic look on his face. Come on, Kelwarner, seems like she ain't as sharp as she said she was. The gothic lowly said. Kelwarner and Middlet, we once met in my previous life. I put you down, this time I can do it again and I'll enjoy it this time around. Draken said with a sadistic smile on his face. Mari was watching from afar as she was wondering previous life. Issei's reincarnated. Draken then snapped his fingers and an isolation barrier formed over the church in an instant. Mari saw the barrier form over her as a fallen angel wearing a trenchcoat and a fedora approached her. Name's Danasik. I'll be responsible for killing you this evening, human. Mari responded with venom. You'll find I'm tough to kill, fallen. As she summoned her sacred gears, Telos Karma and Innovate Clear. Let's fight, bastard. Danasik's eyes widened as he recognized the two Longinus class gears. Telos Karma, Innovate Clear. No, you must be her. Hell, Mari. Mari laughed a bit before glaring. I see my reputation precedes me. Too bad you'll pay for targeting my little brother. Draken picked up Mari's voice and had an eyebrow twitch as she'd followed him to the church. Damn it, Mari. Why did you follow me? Rebirth Issei responded to Draken. Hey, she's overprotective of us, so she'll follow. Draken responded by what I'm hearing. It seems she's got a reputation, so I'm sure she'll be fine. The two fallen angels then stared down the eyes of Draken and saw nothing but impending death. That human is going to die. Calwarner tried to taunt Draken. Draken had a laughter of madness and amusement. Oh, she's not going to die. I'll make sure of it. You though, not so much. Low-class whore. Draken went on the attack as he punched Calwarner in the gut, making her vomit blood immediately. Mitlop couldn't even see Draken moving as Calwarner was gone from her side as she saw her on the far end of the church. Draken then came to her and used his dark Excalibur Morgan, to cut up Middlet as he dismembered her, leaving stumps on her as she screamed in pain. Draken just kicked her on the side of the head with enough force to kill her, as he said, "Geez, your screaming is annoying," as Mitlop turned to Feathers. Mari had been toying with Danasik as she was torturing him. With each question wrong, she broke a bone. So tell me, why are you in code? Danasik responded, we were here to kill potential sacred gear wielders. We didn't know he was your brother. Please spare me. Mari's eyes narrowed as they turned red for a moment before going back to brown. Oh really, now, you'll suffer for that. But tell me what the name of the whore my brother went out with. Her name is Raynare, Marine. She's the bitch I'm looking for. But tell me, why are you here? Did you follow me? Draken asked Mari as he folded his arms on his chest. Yes, I was worried about you and I heard you planning this, so I wasn't going to let you go alone. I bugged your room, sorry, after Sunday I was worried. Draken sighed as she scratched her head sheepishly. Mari, she replied with, I'm sorry, but I was worried about you, your changes in demeanor, your eyes, your aura, everything. We'll talk after this, Draken said to Mari, who nodded. So what about those two? Draken just showed her their feathers and she nodded before questioning Danasik. So then, I'm sure you know of the fallen bastard who tried killing me just over a year ago, right? Rice. Draken raised an eyebrow and asked her, what do you mean? Mari answered without looking at Draken. Reason why I unlocked my gears in the first place was because I almost got killed on a date with a fallen angel. I'd barely managed to escape death then, and hearing that you got attacked on yours just didn't sit right with me. Draken nodded at her answer before telling her let him go. I want to question him. Mari raised an eyebrow but let Danasik go. Now then, I already know Kokobil sent you here. And I should say, the bastard is really stupid. Provoking me and my sister is a death wish, especially me. Tell me who's Rice? Danasik, scared, spilled the beans. Rice is Raynare's brother. He was also going around killing sacred gear users. Draken's eyes darkened at that. Oh, so a pair of Crow's siblings, huh? I'm looking forward to meeting Rice soon. He'll pay for what he did to Mari with blood and his life. No thanks for the information, Donna. Now then, Draken's eyes turned violet, indicating that he was using the energy of the Power Stone. Goodbye. Draken destroyed Danasik with the energy of the Power Stone as he turned to Feathers. Now then, one more, I see, Mari asked, to which Draken nodded as his eyes turned back to red from violet. Nuh! Draken covered his ears as Mari fired lightning at the source of the screaming. That was a screaming banshee there. Draken chuckled at the joke. Yeah, it was Marine, and it happened to be the whore I was looking for. Let's go. Draken picked up Danasik's feather, and they went to where Raynare crashed after Mari's lightning strike. As she got up, she saw Draken standing in front of her and Mari behind her, and she got scared shitless. Hello, Raynare, remember me? Draken asked with a cold tone as his red eyes were shimmering in the dark. Issei. Draken smiled darkly. Good, you still remember me. He nodded at Mari, who broke Raynare's arm with a foot stomp. Ah! Don't worry, we have a few questions to ask of you and something to clarify before I send you to your death, Draken said to a petrified and scared Raynare. After dealing with the fallen angels at the abandoned church, Mari and Draken had collected all feathers and exterminated all the fallen, including Draken getting his answers around rice. The pair teleported back to their new apartment as Draken sat down as he exasperated a sigh at Mari. So what do you want to know? Mari sat down across from Draken as she answered with everything and the whole truth. Are you reincarnated, and how are you so powerful? Draken just sighed and said, it's a long story. You may hate me for what you hear, Marine. Mari reassured him, I see, you're my little brother, I won't hate you. Draken chuckled a bit. Then we should have all parties present. He then summoned the boosted gear, which Mari wasn't surprised about since she heard about it when she spied on his room. The Issei you know is still here, in the boosted gear, with Drake. The truth is I'm a different one from another universe. So being reincarnated is an accurate way of describing me. Other me, Drake, wake up. Rebirth. Issei and Drake woke up as Rebirth. Issei asked, what's up, Draken? Oh hey Marine. Mari was a bit taken aback and greeted the soul of her brother. Hey, I see. How is it going in their rebirth? Issei, it's alright. My counterpart has been treating you well, Mari answered. Yeah, he has. Rebirth. Issei gave a chuckle of approval as he said, full disclosure, I already know what Draken is about to say. Only you and Drake will get this information for the first time. Draken, Mari asked. Yeah, I practically disowned everything relating to Issei Hayata, but we'll get there. Well then, here we go. Draken started with his explanation to Mari from his first death to Raynare, him rescuing Asia and her being turned against him by Rias lies, the Kokobile saga, Youth Devil Conference, demonic beast riots where Dai stabbed him in the back with a blade laced with Samo's venom, the vampiric civil war in Romania, the evil dragon war, and finally the sealing of Trihexa. Mari was flabbergasted at the events that have happened and how they went down. She was infuriated by what Dai did to Draken. He stabbed you in the back with a venom lethal to dragons. Draken answered, yup. If it weren't for Ophis and Great Red along with my predecessor hosts in the boosted gear, I'd be dead permanently. Drake mused also, your brother is a cancer that should be removed from the world. Cause how do you do that to your family? Greed, lust, pride? All of those, Drake. Dai was all of that and more. He even vilified me against everyone, painting me to be the bad guy, as a glory hogger, as a pervert, hell even a ing rapist, and he wasn't alone. Ray, or in that universe Ika, along with the Gremry and Citri peerages, did so as well. Draken continued on. Mari had a look of horror seeing the parallels between the current world and Draken's previous world. I suppose that isn't the end of it, I see, Mari asked. We're just scratching the surface, Mari. So whilst nearly everyone hated me, I did get support and love from an unexpected place. Who? Draken had a slight smile on his face. Persephone and Hades, with their daughters, Milanoe and Macaria. They essentially stepped in and became the parents I needed when those two failed, seeing me as they do us now, worthless and disgraces. In that universe, along with some others, you never existed, so I was the eldest child. Mari nodded, but felt weirded out that she didn't exist in some universes. So they became your parents, that's something good to hear. So their daughters took up to you as their younger brother? Draken nodded in agreement. Yeah, they did. I had them. Nyx, Mocha and Drake, they were the only ones I had who were in my corner. Mari had a teasing smile as she'd recognized Nyx's name, something Draken recognized immediately, and went to stop at Mari. No. I see, yes. Mari, we're moving out of topic. Beforehand, I had several girls I fell in love with. Asia, the witch, was one of them. Then there was Irina, Ravel, Rosweiss, Gabriel and Ingvild. Dai, Ika and Rias managed to make them think that I sought them for their bodies, and that amplified the hate for me. Mari just shook her head at how he was treated. You were the actual hero of that world, but Dai took the credit. I'm just disappointed. What else happened? Draken looked down, knowing what was next. Can I show you? I don't have the strength to retell it in words. Mari nodded as he activated the power of the Reality Stone, and Mari saw the factions wanting to kill Draken for the boosted gear to give it to Dai. How Hades, Milanoe, Macaria, Persephone, Nyx and Mocha all died to protect him so he could escape from the factions. When the memories stopped, Mari had a few tears running down her face, tears of sadness, despair, anger, and disbelief at how far things had gone. I see, I'm so sorry that happened to you. I see how you'd lost everything. I just can't believe it. They really went that far as to want to kill you for the boosted gear. Mari went to embrace Draken with a hug which he melted in as the first set of tears in decades came from his eyes. I thought I couldn't cry anymore. Draken whispered. It's okay, I see. I'm a shoulder you can cry on. Okay, Mari reassured Draken. We're still not done, there's a lot more to go. Partner Drake answered. I'd like to request that I bring back your memories from my past life. I'll need your help for this next part. Brother Drake was taken aback by Draken's address calling him brother, but agreed. Draken activated the power of the time, mind and soul stones and infused it into the boosted gear, and that began the process of bringing back Drake's memories. Scene change. Ko Hospital. At Ko Hospital, most of the Kendo club was unconscious and hurt after the beatdown they suffered at the hands of Draken earlier in the day. It wasn't guaranteed that a few of them would even wake up from their states due to the nature of their injuries. All of them were being looked over by Seiko Busujima, the main Kendo club captain and third-year student at Ko Academy. Seiko Busujima. She had just come back to Ko from another Kendo tournament out of town when she heard of how the second years got beaten into oblivion and all were injured to all. She was furious and wanted the person who did this to her club. I swear, when I find who did this, they'll pay with blood, Seiko said with anger and gritting her teeth. It won't be that easy, Seiko, a voice said from the door. Seiko turned around to see Sona standing at the door with Tsubaki flanking her. Seiko bowed her head at her mistress. Kaicho, do you know who did this? Sona adjusted her glasses before nodding in affirmation. Yes, I do. It was Issei Hayadu. Seiko's eyes burned red in anger. The pervert. He did this. Sona responded, yes he did, and I should warn you, he knows about us and the supernatural, so do not confront him. He also knows about my relation to Serafal. But Kaicho! Seiko tried to retort but Sona shut it down. Seiko, that's enough, you will get your chance for payback against Hayadu. For now, keep calm. We've heard that he's even attacked his own family and left with his sister. They are currently being seen to in a Gremory clan hospital. Am I clear? Seiko reluctantly agreed. Yes, Kaicho. Sona then responded, good, then for now focus on your training. We'll get him back for this. Sona and Tsubaki left as the Citri Queen questioned Sona. Kaicho, are you sure about not telling Lady Leviathan about this considering he knows about her? Sona answered Tsubaki, he's nothing that big. We'll be able to take him and it'll get me out of Serafal's shadow. I love her, but she's too much at times. This is our chance to prove that we didn't become governors of Ko because of our family relations. Tsubaki nodded to Sona's answer as they left. Meanwhile, as Seiko was left alone in the rooms of her juniors, she gritted her teeth in anger and hate at Draken for what he did to the Kendo club. You'll pay for this, Hayadu, and I'll ensure that you will never be able to walk or do anything by yourself ever again. Scene change. Draken and Mari's apartment. The pair of siblings had been talking for almost 2 hours, as they got into depth about Draken's life in Arcadia, how he was framed, captured by the Black Arms, tortured, Drake being killed by Carmilla to break Draken, him joining the Black Arms, winning the Ark's civil war within 3 years, him taking all the icons of the Arks and killing the Ark siblings one by one, which horrified Mari for one, and Drake was angered, not at Draken but by the gullibility shown by Juniper which cost her children's lives, him killing Vlad, Nicholas, Carmilla and Frisia, his capture of Juniper and breaking her turning into his supreme general, his systematic demolition of every institution the Arks held close, uniting Arcadia and the 4 kingdoms with Menagerie, forever ensuring the Arks would be pariahs and anyone supporting them would be captured and made an example of, his rule of over years in Arcadia, fighting against the rebellion led by Willow, Draken, and Holly, Draken, his daughter Newt getting hurt, which sent him over a cliff, him returning to his Earth and subjugating and uniting it with his Arcadia into one empire, his attempted takeover of the multiverse which resulted in his death by several of his variants. At the end of the whole talk Draken just went silent as his hair covered his eyes, until Mari went to his side and laid his head on her shoulder, telling him everything was going to be fine, I am not going to abandon you for what happened in your past, Issei. You lost everyone you cared about and was betrayed multiple times, but you've mellowed down and are kinder. Given you won't be back to the Issei that cared for everyone and everything, but just know that I'll always be in your corner with whatever decision you make. Draken then said to Mari, I may not be the same Issei that left that morning, but he's asked me to make sure that you're safe, and I'll keep that promise. You've grown on me, Mari, and I consider you my older sister now, too. Mari responded with I'm happy to hear that, Issei. No, Draken. Just try not to burn everything down this time, okay? Draken chuckled a bit as he said, I'll try not to, unless I'm severely annoyed. As Mari patted his head, Draken felt at ease for the first time in decades as he fell asleep on Mari's shoulder as a single stray tear rolled down his eye. Scene changed mindscape. In Draken's mindscape he was standing in a blank white area as Drake appeared in his full dragon form, as he stood in front of Draken. Drake. I'm happy to have you back, brother. I'm sorry for how I treated you earlier. I just couldn't handle you being alive again. Drake's human form. Drake answered with a smile. It's alright, Issei. I'm just happy that you're healing a bit. Drake transformed into his human form as he hugged Draken. It's alright, partner. It's alright. Drake said. Then the previous hosts of the boosted gear also made their appearance, as all were freed from the curse of the Juggernaut drive. As when Draken gave Drake his memories, his predecessor hosts also saw what happened, including after they sacrificed themselves to save Draken from Samuel's venom. As they unveiled their faces, they all gave Draken a comforting hug, telling him that they stood with him and they wouldn't leave him so easily. Then stood Elsha and Belzard, who were once the strongest wielders of the boosted gear until Draken. Elsha senpai, Belzard senpai. Elsha also gave him a hug as she said, We saw everything, Issei, and the way you've grown. We couldn't be prouder. Even if you had fallen to be a tyrant, your reasons were valid. We'll always be there to support you. You're healing now. You've got Mari, and us here in the gear. We'll help you whenever you need it. Elsha, third strongest wielder of the boosted gear. Belzard, second strongest wielder of the boosted gear. Draken responded, Of course, Elsha, thank you. Then Belzard came to Draken and gave him a handshake before embracing him in a hug and also comforting him. It's alright, Issei. As Elsha said, if you need guidance, we're right here. Draken gave a slight smile as he nodded. Apartment living room. Mari and Draken were asleep when he began to stir and wake up as he got up from Mari's shoulder. The boosted gear materialized from his left arm. Rise and shine, Issei. Draken gave a slight scowl. Shutted Drake. He got up and placed a blanket over Mari. So what's the plan now? Drake asked Draken. Firstly, I'll need to reach out to everyone who stuck with me, meaning Nyx, Mom, Dad, Milanoi, Makaria, Mocha, Ophis, and Great Red. I see the easiest and first person to go to will be Nyx, since it's before her whole fiasco with Ingvild and imprisonment, so I'll go to her darkness dimension and get to her first. Drake mused. I see then, Issei, get your mates. Drake said in a mocking tone. Shut up, or I'll come in there and I'll give you a proper ass whooping. Drake started to refuse. Okay, calm down, Issei. I'm not going to provoke your rage. But tell me, once with Hades, inform him immediately that you need to get rid of Samuel as quickly as possible. Draken agreed with Drake's assessment, as he was busy making breakfast. Mari was starting to wake up as her nose tingles from the aroma of the food Draken was cooking. She walked to the kitchen yawning as Draken turned to see her stretching. Morning, Raynare, he said with a smile. Morning, Issei. What's for breakfast? Draken snickered a bit. We've got steamed rice, miso soup, grilled fish, sukmono, pickled vegetables, nori, seaweed, and a cup of green tea. Mari came over to see the pots and pans, and she could tell he was cooking. Going traditional, Issei, you're a chef. Mari said with a teasing tone. I am technically older than you. I just happen to be reborn in my year-old self. You're still. Mari upped the ante of teasing. Alright, old man. Whatever you say. Draken just rolled his eyes. Go on and freshen up, Mari. After Mari had freshened up and sat at the table and ate, she asked Draken about what was next. So, what's next, Issei? Draken answered, well, firstly I'll go and get Nyx. This is before the whole Ingvild fiasco, and she isn't imprisoned, so she's in her own dimension and I know where it is. I just hope I'm not met with an immediate fight from her. Mari smiled as she reassured Draken, it'll be fine. "Oh, when are you supposed to be back in Berkeley?" Draken asked Mari, to which she responded within the next 3 days, meaning you'll be alone for a minute. I'll be back by the time your summer break hits. Draken gave a slight smile as he said, "That's alright, but we do need to get new phones, can't leave anything to chance for now, so let's head to Tokyo for new phones." "Alright, but do tell me, where did you even get the money for this apartment in the first place?" Draken sheepishly scratched his head, a quirk they both did. "Yeah. I used the power of the Infinity Stones to create infinite money for the both of us. I saw that we will need it. It's in a joint account in both our names." Mari looked a bit flabbergasted. "Essentially, you used the power of the most powerful artifacts in the known universe, which is now a part of your being, to create infinite money for the both of us. You've got priorities." "Stop it! Now that I think of it, it's extremely embarrassing," Draken said with a red tint of embarrassment, as Mari laughed at Draken as she said, "Alright, I'll stop. Let's finish here so you can freshen up and we can get our new phones in Tokyo." Scene change: Gremory Clan Hospital, Underworld. At a Gremory hospital, Mickey, Goro, Dai, and Ray were being treated for the injuries Draken inflicted on them. Goro had his jaw wired shut due to the dislocation, whilst Mickey, Ray, and Dai had various injuries. Kuroga and Kiyomi arrived as they saw the damage, and were angered by it. Koriga Hayate, "That damn disgrace, how dare he do this?" Koriga spat in anger. Koriga, "Being angry right now is not going to do anything at all. We need to send out teams to find them and bring them in." Surzex entered the room with concern. "How are they doing?" Kiyomi responded, "They'll be fine." Gora's jaw was wired shut. "Mickey, Dai, and Ray have various injuries, but they'll be fine." Koriga, "Being angry right now is not going to do anything at all. We need to send out teams to find them and bring them in." Surzex entered the room with concern. "How are they doing?" Kiyomi responded, "They'll be fine." Gora's jaw was wired. Kiyomi Hayate, "That's good to hear. But how is it that the disgrace has magic?" Kiyomi responded, "I am not sure, but I swear, he'll pay for this. So will Mari. They'll answer for their crimes, and when they do, we will extract his magic and use it to strengthen the clan." Surzex nodded as he went to talk to Gora. Haneda International Airport, Tokyo, 3 days later. 3 days later, Draken dropped Mari off at Tokyo International Airport, Haneda Airport. Whilst the pair was in Tokyo, they spent time together in the city. They got new phones, changing their numbers. Draken got a Galaxy Z Flip, whilst Mari took a Galaxy S Ultra. Afterwards they bought another residence in the suburb of Azabu, which was a bathroom home within the city. Mari's outfit for departure. "I see, do stay out of trouble, okay?" Mari asked Draken, with a laugh, and responded, "I'll try not to, but you know that where I go, some shitstorm follows behind me." Mari smiled a bit, seeing Draken happier, but did pose a question for Draken. "So are you going to meet her?" Draken sighed as he nodded. "I want to hear what they want to say. I'll relay it to you as well, and with what my counterpart told me, what they did was extremely stupid against both you and him as well, but it now extends to me. But considering what I did to them in my former life, if I am pushed, it'll go that direction again." Mari knocked him on the head as she shook her head. "I see, stop it with the genocidal thoughts," Mari said in disapproval before she added, "Oh, can I talk to him before I go?" Draken gave Mari his left hand as they intertwined their fingers, and Mari mentally spoke to Issei's soul. "I see you there." Issei was awake as he responded, "I'm here, Marine. You're leaving for Berkeley?" Mari responded, "Yeah, but you'll be fine, right?" "Rebirth." Issei responded, "Yeah, I'll be fine. Draken's got everything covered. We'll be fine." Mari smiled and responded, "Good then. Make sure to keep him out of trouble." "Rebirth." Issei chuckled and responded with, "I'll try, Mari. But I'm pretty sure trouble will find him, like how she's wanting to meet with him, considering how things went down in his past life. I wonder how it'll go now." Mari responded before leaving, "Yeah, see you then, bye." "I see. Bye, Marine." Draken's casual outfit. Mari opened her eyes as she faced Draken once again as he smiled at her, and she did the same and hugged him before her flight was called. "Flight to Los Angeles, this is your boarding call." "Well then, here I go, we'll talk over the phone," Mari said as she walked away to the gate to board her flight as Draken began to walk to the pair's new car, a BMW XX Trivia, as he got in and drove away. Draken then addressed his counterpart. So why didn't you tell her that our souls would be merging today, and that would be the last time you'd speak to her? A green gem appeared on his left hand as rebirth. Issei began to speak. I couldn't do that to her. Telling her that would be our last conversation, it would hurt her. Draken mused. But then your name, our name, means honest. You should have been honest with her. Rebirth. Issei answers Draken. Yeah, I know, but you still know I'll be a part of you, so by talking to you, she'll be talking to me in a way. I see. Draken mused, to which Rebirth. Issei asked a question. So tell me more about Nyx and Mocha. Alright then, Nyx, the primordial goddess of the night in Greek mythology. The one goddess who scared the shit out of the man-child Zeus. She's someone who was extremely cheerful. She was also sadistic in battle. But she was also lonely. Her brother Erebus left her alone and she wanted a friend, hence why she tried to kidnap Ingvild. I remember fighting against Nyx to get her back. I had to contend with her since she was wearing a set of clothes called Godly Virgin Killer Clothes. Godly Virgin Killer Clothes, how didn't you die? Draken snorted. Not literally, you dolt. They just allow her to be immune to all attacks from male virgins. Rebirth. Issei mused in understanding. So how did you beat her? Draken remembered his fight against Nyx, and how he beat her. Her clothes got blown away when I beat her, but by then, the shit stick known as Dai came in and manipulated her, saying you were interested in her body and turned her against you. Tokyo Restaurant, Shibuya. Yup, that's the reason, damned shit stick. Draken said, to which Rebirth. Issei responded with. The best way to describe him. Nyx got arrested and was imprisoned whilst Dai took the credit yet again, and you were more aggravated by the situation as well. Draken nodded in agreement before driving to a stop. Let's talk later, shall we? The restaurant is here. Let's see what your aunt has to say. Rebirth. Issei retorted Draken's statement. I don't consider her my aunt as much as you do, just like the rest of that damned family. We agree on that, but let's hear what bullshit she has to say. Draken said as the gem disappeared from his left hand and he parked his car and entered the restaurant, and as he walked in, he saw her, a brown-haired woman, wearing a white skirt with a white shirt, who looked at Draken and waved to him. He narrowed his eyes at her but walked to where she was sat when she stood to greet him. Issei, welcome. Haruka Kishinami, sister of Miki, daughter of Kaji and Shiki Kishinami, mother of Jin and Hakuno Kishinami. Haruka offered him a seat. The restaurant was empty since it was booked out by Haruka. Draken sat down with an untrustworthy look on his face as he looked at Haruka across him. So what do you want with me, Haruka? You're the one that called me here when you sent one of your lackeys to follow me and Mari. Haruka answered with, I just wanted to talk to you, but where is Mari? Left the country going back to university, and before you ask? No, I will not give you any information on which university it is, not like you deserve it since you and your family couldn't care less about us. Draken said sharply before Haruka could add on to her statement. I see you've changed, your hair color, eye color. It's all different. Humph. Not like you would be concerned about that. So tell me why you called me here. I've got more important things to do than to diddle around with you here. Haruka nodded as she began to speak about the reason why she called him to meet with her. Tell me, did you beat the hiatus down 3 days ago? What are you going to do with that information? Report me if I admit it. Haruka shook her head in disagreement with Draken's statement. No, I'm not. I just wanted to inform you that they put a bounty for arrest for you and Mari, and we wanted to put up a defensive front for the both of you so that we can tell the Shinto faction not to put the bounty, as you had this reason and that reason for acting as you did when you attacked them. Draken narrowed his eyes at that as he was trying to figure out Haruka's endgame for this. And how will that benefit you, considering your father and the rest of your family, you included, punished us for something your sister did? What's with your concern now? We lived for a long time without you or your concern, so what's changed now? Issei, I understand that you are upset by that, but you should understand our Draken cut her off. Understand? Understand whatever bullshit reason you had. That no, Miki did wrong by us and is therefore banished from the famed Kishinami clan, and anyone who contacts her or any of her children will be banished as well. Isn't that right? Haruka had a look of sadness as she knew he was right about the Kishinami punishing them for what Miki did. Yes, you're right on that point. We should have never punished you for Mickey's sins, but what she had done was wrong, trying to help Gora cheat in his duel against Father. Draken snorted at that. Spare me that whole duel bullshit. You knew better than to punish a child for the sins of their parents, but that flew over the top of your ING heads and that ruined my and Mari's lives in the process since we struggled in that ING family whilst you were busy living a good life this side, and now when the time is ING convenient, you suddenly appear out of nowhere, right? Draken laying not only his frustrations but also his counterpart's frustrations and Mari's frustrations as well on the situation. We understand that, Issei, and an apology will never be enough for the hurt you and Mari suffered in your lives because of my decision, said a voice coming in as Draken narrowed his eyes further, seeing the silhouette come into the light as he recognized who it was. Kaji, so this was an ambush, Haruka, said a voice coming in as Draken narrowed his eyes further, seeing the silhouette come into the light as he recognized who it was. Kaji, so this was an ambush, Haruka. Kaji Kishinami, father of Miki and Haruka, grandfather of Mari, Jean, Issei, Draken, Dai, Rei and Hakuno. Kaji Kishinami, Haruka's father, Issei, Draken, and Mari's maternal grandfather appeared. No, this isn't an ambush or anything like that. We genuinely wanted to apologize to you for wronging you by tying you to Mickey's actions. It was wrong of us. I understand your anger and disdain towards not only us but the whole Kishinami clan for this, and we don't blame you for it. We just want to make it right. Draken started laughing at Kaji's statement of making it right. Making it right, really? Can you make up years of hurt and pain on Mari's part, and years of pain on my part, can you? Or is this an empty, hollow statement? Do I look like I should smile and run to you and your family like a lunatic, shouting Auntie! Auntie! Grandpa! Grandpa! As if the last decades haven't occurred over my dead body. Mari and I had lived without your help for so long. What makes you think we won't be able to do so as well now and into the future? Drake mentally talked to him as he said, Brother, he's not lying at all, either is his daughter. They are genuinely remorseful for their actions. Draken responded with, They can be remorseful, but what will remorse do? We already lived for years without them batting an eye for us, so why would I start trusting them now? Rebirth. Issei chimed in with his own thoughts. Drake, I'm sorry to say this, but Draken is right. In my case it's almost years. With Marine it's been years. For him it's been years and they didn't give any s about me, about Mari, about him. So much that he found a different family in Hades' family who cared about him truly. If it means that a family that he is not biologically related to has to step in before the biologically related maternal side of the family and care for him, that's unforgivable, and I understand his anger for that, and you saw what he did to them in his old timeline. He is not afraid of doing that again. Drake sighed at Rebirth. Issei's statement but did not disagree with him. Haruka and Kaji did not disagree with the points Draken made, as he had a lot of anger and frustration directed at them for punishing them for Mickey's actions, and they knew that Mari would have the same amount of anger with them, and the Kishinami clan as well. Are we done? I've got more important matters to get to. Draken got up from his chair as he wore his jacket and was prepared to walk out of the restaurant. Issei, wait. Haruka called out to him. What do you want, Haruka? Draken asked apathetically. Haruka handed him a card with both Kaji and her phone numbers on them, to which he looked at it. When or if you want to contact us, here are our contact details. Draken just looked at the card once before crushing it and throwing it back on the table as he walked out with a scoff. Haruka had a saddened look on her face but knew he was right, even Kaji as well. As he was walking out, Haruka's husband, Shinya Kogami Kishinami, a high-ranking government official, and Shiki Ryugi Kishinami, Kaji's wife and matriarch of the Ryugi clan, walked by Draken, and as Shiki wanted to reach out to Draken, he just glared at her as a minuscule amount of his aura irradiated as a warning, and that was enough to make her think twice about it as he walked out and got into his car and left the restaurant, going back to his and Mari's residence in Azabu. Shiki shivered a bit, feeling Draken's aura as she and Shinya walked to Kaji and Haruka. Shinya Kogami Kishinami, husband of Haruka and father of Jean and Hakuno Kishinami. Shiki Ryugi Kishinami, wife of Kaji Kishinami, mother of Miki and Haruka, grandmother of Mari, Jean, Issei, Draken, Dai, Rei, and Hakuno. Shiki, are you alright? Kaji asked. I'm fine, Kaji, I'm fine. His aura scared me. It's like a dragon was staring at me. Shinya went to Haruka as she shook her head. He was unconvinced. He doesn't want anything to do with us. Shinya asked. What are you going to do then, since the Shinto faction ordered that the clans congregate days from now? Kaji sighed as he said. We defend them. There is no way that we can allow the Hayadu to have a bounty put on them. It's my fault that they are antagonized against us. This is the least we can do. Scene change. Draken and Mari's residence, Azabu suburb, Tokyo. In Azabu, Draken was finished with eating dinner as he cleaned up and went to his bedroom when his counterpart, Rebirth, Issei, began to talk. Yo! Draken! To which he responded. Other me, what are you doing? I'm awfully at ease as our souls will be merging at midnight. I'm just relaxed. Draken had a smile as he asked. Really? I thought you'd be more panicky as the time drew closer. Rebirth. Issei laughed as he refuted Draken's statement. Not really, I've already died once. Your soul is the reason I'm still alive, especially since Period Hair was intent on leaving me to die. So I know you'll be fine. So tell me, when are you going to Nyx? Draken had to think about when he'd go to Nyx, then he answered. I'll go tomorrow. For now, I'm just going to relax for now and rest. But tell me something, regarding the Kendo bitches at school. Do you happen to know who is the head captain of the club at school? Issei mused. I think her name is Seiko Busujima. Busujima, eh? Draken had an amused and malicious smirk on his face which made both Rebirth, Issei and Drake, who just woke up, concerned. I see what's with the malicious smile. Draken remembered his fights in Arcadia on the side of the Black Arms and the Westgear Squadron. There was a woman named Seiko Busujima who was a part of the Westgear Squadron in Arcadia. I killed her along with the rest of her squad with the help of one of my top officers in Scarlet Madison, Draken. To think there is someone of the same exact name here. I wonder if she is reincarnated as well. This is about to get interesting. Scene change. Seiko's apartment. Seiko was tossing and turning in her bed as she was having nightmares. The nightmares were about her past life in Arcadia and her death along with her friends in the Westgear Squadron at the hands of Draken and Scarlet Draken. No! Seiko got up from her bed as she was having a cold sweat as she was trying to calm herself down. No! My friends, my team, my country all gone, because of that monster Draken. This time I'll make sure he doesn't even become that monster, Draken, by ensuring he is dead, for my friends and for my Kendo team. Mindscape. Draken was in the Mindscape as he and his counterpart, Rebirth, Issei along with Drake were seated talking before Issei's soul was to merge with Draken's. This is it, Rebirth asked with a melancholic tone. Draken and Drake just looked at him as they nodded. Yeah, it is, but we'll be joined together as one soul. Draken ruffled his counterpart's hair as he pushed Draken's hand off his head. Stop it! Just simply because you're years old doesn't change anything. I'm you, you're me. Draken laughed as he agreed. Yeah, that's true, we are still the same person in soul, though we've seen different but similar things in our lives as well. Drake chimed in with his own thoughts. Even without Draken, you being here, I still believe you would have been my best host with time, but though the time spent was short, it was great having another soul in here. Rebirth. Issei nodded as the trio stood up as he shook Draken's hand and asked him one more time. Take care of Marine and protect her. I entrust her protection to you. Draken nodded in affirmation as he brought him in for a hug. That I will, as Draken patted his back as Rebirth. Issei's soul began to fade as it merged with Draken's soul. When it did, Draken had regained his original brown eyes from before as he looked at Drake, who was in his human form. So you're going to Nyx now? Brother Drake asked Draken, who nodded in agreement. Yeah, I need to get my family all together once again, plus a new addition in Mari. I'll inform them as I go. After getting Nyx back, I'll return to school for a minute just for the shits, giggles, and the chaos I'll bring. Drake nodded in understanding. Draken and Mari's apartment, Azabu suburb, Tokyo. Draken left the Mindscape and woke up from his sleep as his eyes fluttered open and he left bed and dressed in an all-black outfit as he prepared to teleport to Nyx's darkness dimension to reunite with her. Well then, here we go. Draken teleports out of the house en route to the darkness dimension to see one of the 3 people who romantically loved him and stuck with him along with his adoptive family before they were all murdered by the factions. Scene change brought by Draken in black. Issei sharing tips on how to torment the Gremory family. Kishinami clan residence, Tokyo. At the Kishinami clan's main residence, Kaji, Shiki, Haruka, Shinya and the heir of the clan, Jin Kishinami were discussing the implications of the forthcoming meeting called by the Shinto faction, as Jin was trying to understand why his parents and grandparents would go out of their way to defend Draken and Mari. Mom, Dad, Grandpa, Grandma, I want to understand why you would go out of your way to defend them. They are part of the Haida clan, there is a reason why we don't associate with them. And it ties with you, Grandpa, and our family's long history with them. Jin asked, trying to understand. Haruka answered her eldest child, Jin dear, we saw that the judgment regarding both Issei and Mari was wrong beyond all measure. They were not the same as the rest of their clan at all. They've actually gone to the Shinto faction to petition for a bounty set out for them. Jin looked at his mother in disbelief as he wasn't buying it. Tell me you're joking, Mom. Kaji then interjected with his own thoughts. She's not. All principal clans were informed about this and there'll be a meeting tomorrow to discuss this. We want to build a defense for them, even though with our actions against Miki which were correct at the time and still are, I don't regret banishing her. We should have been considerate about the children. Especially Issei and Mari, providing a route for them to get out of that environment, and we didn't. Dai and Rei took on their mother's power of hunger and lust whilst Mari and Issei didn't. And they shouldn't have to bear with having the Shinto faction on their heads after what the Hyodas had put them through and with us isolating them for just being Miki's children and the communication blackout we imposed. Jin nodded with his grandfather's words, though he was apprehensive about helping a Hyodu, since he didn't see Mari or Issei as his cousins. Scene change. Nyx's darkness dimension. In the darkness dimension, Nyx was sitting alone as she was lonely, thinking about anyone who would be her friend after her brother Erebus left her alone. At first she thought about a certain Leviathan but saw that she was in Grigori, and would be a tough ass to get to, not without getting the fallen angel's attention and making her a criminal and unleashing a factional cluster of a storm on her, which is something she didn't want. Also offering to help with her disease was on the table, but she didn't want to lower herself to helping the crows. What to do, what to do? Nyx mused when a teleportation circle appeared which had all the markings belonging to the Red Dragon Emperor, and from that circle, Draken came out from it as he looked around at the darkness dimension and the loneliness Nyx had. So this was what she had before everything happened, only loneliness. Draken mused as he looked around, trying to sense the largest magic presence of darkness until he sensed Nyx standing in front of him, her dark energy radiating as she wondered who was the person who just entered her domain. And how did he know where it was? Who are you? How did you find this place? Nyx asked with suspicion as her eyes narrowed as she analyzed Draken up and down looking at him, and she could tell that he was dangerous. Draken just had a slight smile on his face as he didn't wish to fight her. I don't wish to fight you, Nyx. I'd have no reason to. I came here for you. Draken said to Nyx was taken aback that Draken actually came for her, but she didn't trust him at all, to which she still kept her guard up. You came for me. That's funny, 'cause I don't remember ever meeting you at all, and from what I can tell, a black-haired man with red eyes would definitely stand out amongst the people I've met. Draken then said, that's true, but in another life, we were good friends, hell, even together as lovers. Nyx now looked shocked as she pressed on with questioning Draken. Lovers, and how can I believe that you won't leave me in darkness to fend for myself, like everyone else did? Such as my brother. Draken answered Nyx's question by showing her his memories from the Reality Stone, how they were adversaries first, then friends to lovers, all of it up to her death at the hands of the factions. Nyx stepped back a bit as tears pricked her eyes as she was shocked at seeing her death, which happened due to her protecting Draken. I know that you can't believe what you are seeing and what I'm telling you. If you want, I can bring your memories back to back up my words and what you've seen. Nyx was pensive but nodded as she brought her hand to Draken's, to which he held her hand by intertwining his fingers with hers, and lightning crackled between their fingers as his aura was protecting him from the godly virgin killer clothes before he activated the power of the soul, mind and time stones as he brought back her memories from her kidnapping Ingvild, fighting Draken to get her back. Seeing how Dai turning viled against him whilst she was arrested and taken away, Draken visiting her constantly whilst she was imprisoned in Hades' realm, the pair falling for each other, her and Mocha loving him. Then the death knell, her, Mocha and Hades with his family getting killed protecting Draken so he could get away from the factions and prevent them from taking the boosted gear and killing him, to which he ended up in Arcadia. From there all the events that occurred in the former Ark Empire all the way up to his death and subsequent reincarnation into the current world. When he let go of Nyx's hand, tears were rolling down her face as everything came back to her, and she was standing in front of the love of her life once again, alive. I see, Nyx said, tears still rolling down her face as she held his hand yet again, as she changed her form again to a more mature form with black hair and red eyes. Hi Nyx, welcome back, I'm happy to see you again, Draken said with a slight smile on his face. Nyx said Draken immediately as she cupped his cheek, then after pulling away, she laid her head on his chest, tears still rolling down her face. I see, I'm so sorry, if we didn't die, maybe just maybe, you wouldn't have suffered the way you did, you wouldn't have fallen to tyranny like how you did. Draken turned her face to him, as she was still sobbing, and wiped the tears off her face. Nyx, it wasn't your fault, don't cry, I not want to see tears on your face, please, it's alright, you're here, I'm here, we are alive, okay. Nyx nodded as Draken held her close whilst she calmed down hearing his heartbeat. I see, I'm happy to see you again, I'm happy. But I feel guilty, had we stayed alive. Draken cut her off. Nyx, as I said, it wasn't your fault, the factions are to blame, not you, not Mocha, nor Mom, Dad, Milanoe or Macaria. You all gave me a home and love when my actual family didn't, when they scorned me and hated me for blatant lies. You and Mocha gave me a place in your hearts, and you held a place in my heart as well, even as it turned black due to the events in my past life and in Arcadia. I couldn't let you go. When I went back to Earth then, I knew I had to get justice for you, for Mocha, for Mom, Dad, Milanoe and Macaria. Nyx looked up at Draken. He put his forehead against hers and looked at each other's eyes whilst holding hands with their fingers intertwined. Let's head home, there's a lot more I want to tell you, including the fact that I have an older sister. Nyx had a surprised look on her face as she raised an eyebrow. Older sister, is she like those two? Draken shook his head in disagreement. Nope, I've seen other variations of her, and they all have a thing in common, they will support and love my counterpart, and will dote on him, just like this Mari in this world. Nyx chuckled a bit at that, thinking about Draken being doted on, something he noted. Yeah, rub it in, Nyx, though I'm years older than her, she'll dote on me as if I'm the younger sibling, which is technically true since this body is of my younger counterpart when he was still. Speaking of your counterpart, where is he? Nyx asked Draken, which he responded with, I'll tell you when we get back home, not but in Tokyo, shall we then? Nyx smiled and responded to the question, let's do so. Anada, you've got a lot to catch me up on, though I've seen a lot of it, I need to hear it from your words as well. Draken nodded as he had one more request of Nyx before they left, also. Could you turn down your darkness? We can't alert anyone to your presence. Nyx pouted at that as she said, Anada, you say that as if my power turned down with a volume knob. Draken laughed at Nyx's pout as he had her cheek. Your pout will never get old, let's go. The pair teleported out of the darkness dimension. Scene change brought by Rebirth. Draken watching Secret Service. Issei decapitating Secret Service. Surzex and nodding in approval. Draken and Mari's apartment, Azabu suburb, Tokyo. The pair teleported into the living room as Nyx took in the modern upper-class home as she reveled in the new surroundings, to which she asked Draken, so this residence is jointly owned by yourself and Mari? Draken nodded in affirmation. Yeah, Marine, and I bought it after I beat the ever-living out of the hiatus. Speaking of them, what are you going to do with them? Nyx asked with curiosity, which Draken said, I'll bide my time with them. Firstly, I'll deal with the Tomato Head's peerage. One by one, that'll be soon. Hope you'll join me in that. Nyx cupped Draken's cheek as she said, of course, lover, I've got my own receipts to give to those heirs. Draken smiled as he held her hand before heading to the kitchen to begin preparing breakfast. Nyx, I also was thinking, why not you come with me to Ko Academy, keep them on their toes whilst biding our time. Nyx was curious about the proposition, so I can also get a lay of the land whilst planning out our next move. I see. Draken nodded in agreement, something like that. Nyx nodded as Draken finished preparing breakfast and gave her a plate as she began eating and savored every bite of food, her eyes brightening. This is great, Issei, delicious, just like old times when Persephone cooked for everyone. But do tell me, when are you going to get her back? Draken looked up at her and answered her. Firstly, I need to get the grail from the filthy half-breed bat. That'll also be at the same time as when I get Mocha, so I'll condense it then. Might as well purge the vampires whilst on it as well, get rid of one problem as well. Then afterwards I'll build a lab so I can use the grail to access purgatory so I can get Mom back, then we can head to Dad. Nyx nodded at Draken's planning as they continued eating before Draken's phone started ringing. Video call incoming, Raynare, Berkeley, California. Draken answered the phone as he put the phone in flex mode. Raynare, you've arrived on campus. Mari nodded over the phone as she responded, yeah, I did. It was a long-ass flight. I'm tired. It's mid-afternoon here, around, so I'll try to stay up until it's at least, then I'll sleep. Raynare, you've arrived on campus. Mari nodded over the phone as she responded, yeah, I did. It was a long-ass flight. I'm tired. It's mid-afternoon here, around, so I'll try to stay up until it's at least, then I'll sleep. Mari currently in Berkeley. Draken then said, that's alright. Also, I've got someone who wants to meet you. Mari curiously asked, who is it? Draken turned the phone to Nyx as she waved. Mari confused asked Draken who was the girl in their residence. Raynare, this is Nyx, the primordial goddess of the night. Mari's eyes dilated like crazy as she went like, I see, you already went for one of your girls. Draken put his head in his hands, knowing Mari would somehow react in a way that would embarrass him. Raynare, come on. Don't do me like that. Nyx chuckled, it's a pleasure to meet you, Mari. Issei's told me about you. Mari smiled as she said, same with you, Nyx. I'm sorry for what happened and you. Nyx cut her off as she said, don't worry yourself about that, Mari. You weren't there. And it wouldn't be fair to blame you for events which you weren't even present for. It's fine. But just know that I'll never forgive your family for what they did to us and to Issei and what they caused him to become. Mari nodded. She knew that the Hayate clan was going to be purged sometime in the future by Draken. It's alright, Nyx. To be honest, I don't even think of considering them my family anymore. The only reason I am thinking of keeping the Hayate name now is because of our grandpa, Juzo. But do take care of Issei there, you've got my approval. Of course, sister. I'll watch over our little dragon here. Nyx said with a sly smile, looking at Draken, who gave a playful glare. She then turned the phone back to Draken as the siblings said their goodbyes and ended the call. Nyx then asked a question, about your counterpart. Where is he? Draken answered, he merged his soul with mine, we're one soul now. Though I'm the dominant soul, parts of him will pop up here and there. I see, then how about we have a reunion date this evening? Nyx recommended. Draken nodded in agreement as he said, I can also create papers for you so we can go to Ko Academy together. Hacking the school's system is an easy feat for me. Nyx nodded in agreement. Then I should think up an alias I can use. Taiho Kutsubuji. Sounds good, right? Draken nodded as he agreed with Nyx on the alias as he had grabbed his laptop, a Galaxy Book Ultra, and began to hack into the Ko Academy systems and add Nyx's alias into the system and assigned her into the same class as him. Nyx hugged him from behind as she pressed on his back whilst whispering in his ear, look at you, lover, strongest being in the world, dragon god, smartest man in the world, wealthiest man in the world, genius inventor and now hacker extraordinaire. Is there anything you can't do? Not really sure. I think I did ever possible in my past life. But now I've got you. Soon it'll be Mocha and Ophis, then the rest of the family, and everything will be completed and the extermination of the factory. Nyx cut him off as she straddled across his legs and wrapped her legs around his waist as she made out with him, running her hands through his hair. Careful, Nyx, you're playing with fire. Draken whispered with a sly smirk on his face. Nyx chuckled as she said, I'll play with the fire cause it won't burn me, not now or ever. For now I'll leave you, but I'll get you at the right time when you won't be able to resist me at all. She unwrapped herself from his waist as she took the dishes to the sink. I see, are we going back to Ku? Yeah, might as well enjoy our date there, unless there are stupid hindrances, which then, I'll erase them from existence. Draken said as he got up from the stool and pushed it back inside, as he went to freshen up as Nyx did the same. Scene change brought by Chibi Rebirth. Nyx, Chibi Mercer. Nyx, Chibi Arcadia. Nyx, Chibi Concept. Nyx and Chibi alt concept. Nyx all talking about their Isseis and their addiction to Diet Coke and all face palming together. Scene change. Park fountain. Nyx and Draken were walking together, arms linked after a good date together as they talked about it on their way to the penthouse apartment. Then they passed the fountain when Draken said a few words. Nyx, this is where for me, and so many of my counterparts, our stories began, at this fountain where that one fateful question was asked, will you die for me TSK? It just annoys me thinking about it. Nyx responded to Draken, where's the filthy crow that killed you the first time around and your counterparts including the one you merged with, right? Draken nodded in agreement. Yeah, and would you believe me when I tell you that I didn't kill Raynare in this timeline as well? Nyx looked confused as she asked, you didn't kill her? Who did then? Draken chuckled a bit as he answered, Marine, she tortured her. She even used Black Abyss and Judgment of Shamash to make it more painful since Black Abyss disintegrates at a molecular level whilst Judgment of Shamash can shoot bullets hotter than the surface of the sun. I'd also like to think of it as a lick back to Rice, Raynare's brother. He tried to kill Mari for her gears as well, but failed. So she took it upon herself to make sure that Raynare suffered. Each time she died, I reversed the time to bring Raynare back to life just to die again. It even scared me for a moment, and I am not fazed that easily. Some of my personality may have rubbed off on her. I think I even saw her eyes turn red for a split second, but maybe it's just me. Nyx laughed at the story Draken was telling as they walked past the fountain going away from it. Meanwhile, Seiko was also turning a corner as she was walking towards the fountain, when she spotted Draken and Nyx. Her eyes immediately boiled with fury seeing him as Nyx pulled away from Draken. Hayadu. Draken immediately felt the bloodlust as he snapped his fingers and a barrier formed over the park, and standing in front of him was Kendo Club President, Seiko Busujima. Busujima-chu, what an unexpected surprise. Draken said with a sarcastic smile. I will make you pay for what you did to my juniors, you damn pervert. Seiko said as she unsheathed her katana and took a stance. Draken just simply cracked his knuckles as he had a sadistic smile on his face as he taunted her. Come and get me then. Seiko immediately went on the attack as Draken dodged every attack she threw at him with ease and grace, while Nyx just hung back watching the fight between Draken and Seiko. Draken continued to taunt and goad her. Come on, is that the best you can do? Draken continued to taunt and goad her. Come on, is that the best you can do? Seiko got angrier with each miss she made as she wanted to take his head. I will make sure that you'll pay for what you've done so another monster isn't born again, she said with anger and rage, unaware that the monster she was talking about was already standing in front of her. Nyx had an upset look on her face, seeing that she called him a monster until she realized something critical regarding Seiko as she called him a monster, which she relayed to Draken telepathically. I see, she referred to preventing a monster from being born with you, meaning she's a reincarnate from the same Arcadia I took over. Tormenting her will be fun, thank you Nyx, he mentally said as Nyx responded with a smile. No problem, lover. Draken, knowing that the Seiko he was fighting was the one he knew from Arcadia, now had no reason to hold back as he began to toy with her. His eyes turned to a now duller, darker brown bordering on a red color as he pressed an advantage against her unarmed whilst she was still using her katana. Draken's superior speed, strength, and intellect in a fight allowed him to hit Seiko's blind spots with immense speed and power quickly. He hit her with a strong kick to the back, then to her chest and gut, sending her flying into a tree as she hit it with immense impact. She got up slowly and charged him again. 5 minutes later, Draken stood over a defeated and beaten Seiko as he dusted himself off after the one-sided beatdown he handed her as Nyx came to his side. You okay? Anada? Nyx asked with concern. I'm fine, Nyx. She didn't even land a single hit. Only got dust on my clothes, that's all. Seiko was trying to drag herself away from Draken as her katana was shattered into pieces after Draken beat her into a pulp. Draken of course taunted her. Why are you running, Seiko? Didn't you say you were going to make me pay? Draken quoted her mockingly as she glared at him with tears in her eyes. I'll make sure that you pay, Hayado. I'll ensure that another monster like Draken will never be born again. Draken snorted in a chuckle as his eyes turned to their normal red as he grabbed Seiko by the jaw and forced her to look into his eyes. And did that mission turn out well? Look into my eyes and tell me, what do you see? Remember the Weskier squadron and how I killed all of them, including you? Draken asked the question with a sadistic smile on his face as her eyes widened with horror as she quickly realized who she was standing against. Someone she knew that she had no chance against. She began to hyperventilate in fear of what he was going to do to her. She managed to speak out, saying, "D. Draken. You monster, how are you here? Call it fate and probably the multiverse trying to do me justice after what happened last time." Draken mused. Seiko turned her attention to Nyx as she shouted, "You! How could you love a monster like him? He killed billions." Nyx scowled as she stood aside her lover, answering Seiko, "Because I knew what Issei was like before you people. You damned xenophobes exiled him for a crime he didn't commit. He lost us, his family, and ran away looking to you people for refuge, and your empress blamed him for a gas attack he didn't commit at all because she was a gullible whore to her husband. He is a monster, not only created by the factions, but by you Arcadians as well. I for one am glad he dealt with your empire of racists and xenophobes." Draken smiled at Nyx's words. Whilst she wasn't happy with how Draken turned out, she knew his reasons were valid, as she put her hand on his shoulder. Whilst they looked down at Seiko, "Thank you, Nyx, you articulated well in a few short words." Seiko tried to slowly back up, but Draken wasn't going to let her. "And where do you think you're going, Busujima? The fun is just getting started and you'll be of great use to me, just like how Juniper was. I will never join a damned monster like you," Seiko declared, but Draken only spoke with a cold tone. "I won't take no for an answer, Busujima." Draken then activated the power of the mind and soul stones as he began to rewrite her memories whilst making her soul a passenger in her own body as a subservient version of herself was written in with different memories. Seiko screamed in pain due to the process, the memories of her friends being replaced and reduced to nothing but fragments, and a new entity being in her place. This Seiko had a grin on her face, with the older one watching with horror. Tears of pain and helplessness fell from her eyes, as she soon passed in the outside world. Draken leaped down, and spoke with a smile. "So this is how Concept felt when he turned someone like Keisha Abaddon as his slave. I kind of missed this." Draken spoke with a smile. As Nyx kept her hand on him, he looked at her with a smile, as the couple looked at the sky wondering what more slaves they would get. Previously on Draken, Rebirth. "D. Draken. You monster, how are you here? Call it fate and probably the multiverse trying to do me justice after what happened last time." Draken mused. Seiko turned her attention to Nyx as she shouted, "You! How could you love a monster like him? He killed billions." Nyx scowled as she stood aside her lover, answering Seiko, "Because I knew what Issei was like before you people. You damned xenophobes exiled him for a crime he didn't commit. He lost us, his family, and ran away looking to you people for refuge, and your empress blamed him for a gas attack he didn't commit at all because she was a gullible whore to her husband. He is a monster, not only created by the factions, but by you Arcadians as well. I for one am glad he dealt with your empire of racists and xenophobes." Draken smiled at Nyx's words. Whilst she wasn't happy with how Draken turned out, she knew his reasons were valid, as she put her hand on his shoulder. Whilst they looked down at Seiko, "Thank you, Nyx, you articulated well in a few short words." Seiko tried to slowly back up, but Draken wasn't going to let her. "And where do you think you're going, Busujima? The fun is just getting started and you'll be of great use to me, just like how Juniper was." Draken then activated the power of the mind and soul stones as he began to rewrite her memories whilst making her soul a passenger in her own body as a subservient version of herself was written in with different memories. Now, Draken had let the power of the two stones rewrite the memories of Seiko to make her subservient to him. Nyx was fascinated by what the stones were doing as she watched as she asked her lover, "Issei, tell me, the stones will rewrite her memories whilst also displacing her soul, and she can only watch as a passenger?" Draken nodded in agreement as he said, "Yes, the stones will do that, though I cannot exactly remove them from my body as they are part of my being now, so I can use them as an extension of my body. Basically part of my magic, and from all my counterparts out there, I'm the strongest out of all of them." As Seiko's memories were completely rewritten, she stood up as she faced Draken and kneeled to him and Nyx, whilst her soul could only watch in horror as she said, "Our Lord Draken, Lady Nyx, how may I serve you?" Draken smirked evilly as he folded his arms in satisfaction and began to give Seiko her orders. Busujima, you are to keep an eye on the Citri peerage. Anything which is important information is to be reported to me or Nix discreetly. Also keep an eye on the Gremory peerage and their actions as well. Am I clear? Draken asked with a glare as Seiko nodded whilst responding, Yes, my lord, my lady, I will do so. Nix then responded, You may leave. Seiko left as she became the first sleeper agent for Draken. Scene change brought by Rebirth. Draken, Concept. Issei and Mercer. Issei learning about how the others made their sleeper agents. Scene change. Draken and Mari's apartment Ko. At the crack of dawn in Ko, Draken gingerly woke up from sleep as he had to prepare for school. As he was about to get up, another weight plopped on his chest. Nix laid her head onto his chest as they slept together. She opened one eye as she looked up at him as her red gaze looked up at him. Good morning, lover. How did you sleep? Nix asked, her voice still husky from sleep as Draken patted her head and responded, I slept all right, and how about you, Nix? She nodded in affirmation that she slept fine as Draken smiled at her. Time for us to get up and head to that hellhole. Draken sighed as Nix whined, But I don't wanna. I want to stay like this. Draken chuckled a bit seeing Nix pout. Yeah, me too. But we need to see what those shitheads are planning, and what better way than directly so. Plus we can spend time together at school, and you can plan out who to get. Nix smirked evilly at Draken's suggestion as she pecked his lips. Sounds like a plan. I'll get breakfast ready. Draken nodded as Nix got out of bed. She was and wore a bathrobe as she left their bedroom, swaying her hips in a seductive manner. The familiar green gem materialized on Draken's left hand as Drake began to speak. Brother, I don't know whether to be proud of you or be annoyed because of the noise you two made, or specifically Nix. Each other more quietly next time. Draken just glared at the gem, threatening Drake, when I build your body back, I'll make sure that it's a woman's body clear. As Drake retracted his words, calm down, I see. So what's the plan? Draken had a minute to think about it before telling Drake, Seiko is already a sleeper agent. Anything important Nix and I need to know, she'll tell us about it, and we'll see what to do with that information. I know that today will be that stray hunt at the warehouse, so I can pick out each member one by one. Starting with that cross-dressing half-breed of floor below the ORC clubhouse, I'll also take his sacred gear then. Nix will take Akino, I'll take the false knight, then we finish up with the lowly trap Tuju. Interesting. Well then we'll see later, you better get ready for school. Drake finished before the gem dematerialized. Anada! Breakfast is ready! Nix shouted, coming Nix. Draken replied as he left bed and went to the kitchen to eat breakfast. Scene change. Kishinami clan main residence, Tokyo. At the main Kishinami clan residence, the Kishinami family was having breakfast as Shinya, Kaji, Shiki and Haruka were still musing about the result from the previous day's meeting. Hakuno had already left the table to finish preparing for school as Jean was left with his parents and grandparents. So how did the meeting go? Jean asked. Haruka answered her son. It was extremely heated to say the least. The Hayato clan were insistent on the warrant for Mari and Issei, but they couldn't garner support outside of the Himejima clan, to which Suzaku was also opposed to bringing a warrant on them, but her uncles so agreed. They will refuse the warrant, but I have the feeling that they will go rogue and try to spy on Issei and try to bring him in since Mari is out of the country now. Jean simply had an uninterested look on his face as he simply nodded but added his own words. I still don't understand why you had to defend them, they aren't part of the family. Shiki then added her own words. Yes, they do not have the Kishinami name, but they are family dear. It's something we've been mulling over, and to be honest Issei was right. We were inconsiderate of them and judged them the same as Miki, and that caused years of pain for them to the point that Issei has disdain towards us, and I can't blame him for having those thoughts. If Mari was there she'd have echoed his words or had her own to say as well. Kaji added, the best we can do is to watch them from the shadows and try to protect them. Jean, I can only ask that you open your heart and have consideration. You may have been raised to see the Hayato clan as an enemy, but for those their sakes, ignore the last name and see the blood ties as well. That's all I can ask of you. We've done them so much wrong, we have to try and make it right. Jean just looked at Kaji as he showed no signs of either agreeing or disagreeing with his grandfather's words and request. Scene change. Draken and Mari's apartment Co. Draken and Nyx were done with preparing for school as they wore their uniforms and were about to leave for Ko Academy. Anata, are we going to take the car or not? Draken had thought about taking the car before nodding. Sure, why not? Nyx nodded and smiled as she grabbed the keys, which he quickly repossessed from her hand. Oh no, you're not driving, Nyx. I still need to teach you how to drive. I see. Nyx whined and pouted, but Draken was not relenting. No buts, dear, you have to learn how to drive first before you can go driving. Nyx continued pouting as he patted her head before grabbing a can of Diet Coke with his lunch as Nyx took normal Coke with her lunch as they went to the parking garage and left for Ko Academy. Scene change brought by Chibi Rebirth. Dai being run over by Chibi Rebirth. Draken and Chibi Rebirth. Nyx, scene change. Ko Academy ORC Clubhouse. In the ORC Clubhouse, the Gremory Peerage was sitting around as Dai had returned to school after Draken put the Hayadu family in the hospital. He was mostly healed but had to keep his arm in a cast. So you're telling me that Issei was the one who attacked you and your family, and put all of you in the hospital? Rias asked Dai. Yes, I don't know how my disgraceful brother has magic, but we're going to take it from him. Kaneko just looked at Dai stoically but knew what he was saying was stupid as she added. Dazenpei, his aura is different, it feels stronger than a dragon's aura, just as I said. Bucho. Dai dismissed Kaneko's statement by saying, he got lucky and fluked a win over us. We'll get him for this, even if the Shinto faction refuses to give a warrant for the clan to arrest him and Mari. Rias had been informed by Kaneko and Kiba that they found a nun at the abandoned church, that nun being named Asia Argento, as she was convinced by Dai to join Rias' peerage, and when she saw that she had a sacred gear, she took her in as her bishop and she began to live with the Hayadus along with Rias. Suddenly an engine revved loudly as it grabbed the attention of all the students and teachers in the school. Many people were wondering who it was with the brand new car. As they looked outside, they saw that car as it parked. When they walked outside and saw through the commotion, two people got out of the car. It was Draken and Nyx. The Gremory Peerage was shocked that he had a vehicle like that, whilst Dai looked at Draken with hate and at Nyx with lustful eyes. Most of the students looked at Draken with hate. Nyx in her uniform. Damn, Anata, do you always get hateful looks like this? Nyx asked Draken telepathically, to which Draken answered, yeah. My counterpart had this scorn face to him as well. Draken smelt the air and knew the Gremorys had a new addition from the scent. Well, would you look at that? The witch has joined the club. It makes my job of killing them easier. Nyx shook her head as she said, Anata, calm the murderous intent. We'll rip them apart soon enough. But Yorick's brother is looking at me with lustful eyes. It just disgusts me. Draken expelled a bit of his aura directed at the Gremory Peerage, telling them to back off, and especially Dai, looking at him with a red-eyed glint in his eyes as they went inside. They recoiled away as Dai's eyes widened, seeing the dragon over Draken yet again, as Kaneko was frightened that she pissed herself. Draken and Nyx entered the building as he led her to their classroom. All the while all of the attention was on the both of them. The student council was watching them as Ray glared at Draken, who didn't care and gave a malicious smile of his own towards Ray, which made her recoil backwards. Sona asked Sabaki who Nyx was. Sabaki, who is that girl with Hayadu? Her name is Taiho Kitsubuji. Apparently she's a transfer student from Kobe, an honor student there as well. Her parents are of Japanese descent even though she was born in Greece. Sona had a hand to her chin as she was thinking and then said, Ray, keep an eye on them, especially this Taiho, she may be useful to us. Ray wanted to object as she hated yet feared Draken but Kaicho. Sona glared at Ray, who stopped her protests and nodded, yes, Kaicho. Draken and Nyx then stood at the door of the class as Draken entered the class first as he went to his seat, as all eyes were on him as they wondered who the girl who drove in with him was. As the class settled down, the teacher stood in front of the class as she began to speak. Morning class. Today we'll be having a new student join the class. You may come in. Nyx then entered the class as the teacher allowed her to introduce herself after writing her name on the board. Morning everyone, my name is Kitsubuji Taiho. I'm from Kobe, Japan, though I was born in Thessaloniki, Greece. My interests are drawing and singing. Pleasure to meet you all. Draken smirked as Nyx nailed the introduction. Anyone have any K? The teacher was cut off by Nyx as she raised her hand. I won't be answering any questions asked. I see no point in doing so. "Can I take a seat?" The teacher allowed Nyx to sit down, though she was taken aback about not allowing anyone to ask her any questions. Nyx then sat in front of Draken, much to everyone's shock, when there was a seat free next to Dai. "Hey lover," she said to Draken in a whisper, who just smiled at her. "Well then, this is it. Welcome to this hellhole. The witch has already arrived at school. Makes our job much easier. For now, let's have class, shall we?" Nyx nodded as she looked to the front to begin class. Lunchtime. At lunchtime, Nyx and Draken were about to leave the class when some of the other students prevented her from leaving, as they tried to convince her that he was bad news, and they tried to steer her towards Dai, which she scoffed at. "You lot can go and suck his. I don't care. And one more thing, if you ever try to separate me from my boyfriend, I'll ensure that you will never walk again. Now go and off." "You don't understand, Kitsubuji-san. He's a perverted deviant and a rapist. How could you date someone like him?" one girl said as Draken's eye began twitching as he was about to lose his temper. Nyx saw red and grabbed the girl by her throat and began to strangle her, holding as much strength as possible back to not crush instantly, but just enough to restrict blood to the brain, which was where she was aiming for. And in a cold, deadly glare said, "You better shut the up, whore. If he's a rapist, why wasn't that information reported? Why ain't he in jail? Why isn't he expelled? Where's the proof? Where's the DNA proof to show that my boyfriend is a rapist? I know Issei will never stoop down to the levels you are accusing him of, and if I hear one more bad word about him, I will crush your throat and kill you this instant." Am I clear? Nyx kept her right hand on the girl as she tightened her grip, using only % of her physical strength to strangle her. The girl had to relent and nod as Nyx was slowly exuding her power, which Draken limited with the power of the space stone to ensure that Nyx's power was not detected by the peerages too soon, as Nyx threw her back into the furniture and into the other girls, who glared at Draken, breaking her bones on impact. "That goes for all of you. If I ever hear you spout bullshit about my boyfriend, I'll make sure you regret it for the rest of your worthless lives." Nyx warned the rest as she took Draken's hand and they walked out. Once outside, under what is Draken's favorite tree to sit under, she calmed down. "Nyx, you okay?" Draken asked as she calmed herself down whilst he rubbed his thumb over her hand to calm her further. "I'm fine, Issei. I know you told me about how this went, but to see it for myself is just angering in its own right." "Is this how far that waste of space's lies has gone?" Nyx said. Draken nodded as he added, "Yeah. And it went so far that it cost you and everyone else your lives when you protected me to escape. But that won't happen again. I'll ensure it, for you, for Mocha, for Marine, Milanoini, Makariani, Mom and Dad." He finished as Nyx gave him a quick peck on the lips as she smiled as she said, "There's that protective side again, one of your best traits. Even if you became a tyrant, you still protected those whom you loved, such as your daughter Newt and Yukiko. Speaking of which, when are we going to meet them?" Draken had a downcast look. "I'm not sure if Newt would want to see me again, especially after all that happened." Nyx cupped his cheek as she said to his ear, tickling it, "Issei, you're still her dad. Even if you were a tyrant, you still protected her as best you could, right?" Draken nodded in affirmation as Nyx added, "Then she would be happy to see you." Draken nodded in agreement to Nyx's words as they began to eat. Their conversation was hushed enough that nothing would be picked up by the lingering familiars who were spying on them. "Grr. I should exterminate those familiars," Nyx responded telepathically. "We'll do so, lover. Probably as soon as tonight, since they will be hunting that stray at the abandoned warehouse, right?" Draken nodded in agreement as they continued to eat their lunch whilst being watched. Scene change. Kishinami clan residence, Tokyo. At the Kishinami residence, Haruka was thinking about the meeting which happened the previous day as she was mentally checked out until Kaji entered and closed the door to her office, which startled her. "Ah. Dad. I didn't see you there," Kaji said. "Sorry for startling you, Haruka. You seem mentally checked out there. Is your mind still on the meeting yesterday?" Haruka nodded to answer her father. "Yes, it is. To think that they wanted to arrest them for Issei attacking them with magic. They must have done something for him to take those actions." Kaji nodded in agreement as they remembered what Amaterasu said. Scene change. Amaterasu's palace, Kyoto, Japan. Amaterasu was looking at the case the Hayato clan built up and looking at the Kishinami side. She knew that the two families had been at odds since the th century, but looking at the latest case of contention, that being the situation around Mari and Issei, Draken, she was extremely confused. She remembered a quote from Kaji said, "The previous day, you are only doing this because you are afraid of him, of Mari, you want to hold them down and make them your prisoners, and it doesn't surprise me that the Himejima clan would support you, considering they've killed their own kin before. I'll say they deserve the beating Issei gave them. If your family is so self-absorbed that you can't handle your golden children die and Ray not being the spotlight. Yes, my family and myself are not innocent in this matter. We judge them based on us expelling and banishing Miki, which I will still stand for due to her being deceitful and trying to help her husband cheat in the duel against me. And certainly punishing Mari and Issei for her actions was wrong. I know as much and he told me as much as well, but you will not ruin their lives because you didn't get your way." Amaterasu saw that Kaji's words resonated with the rest of the principal clans, hence the and her with her brothers voting in favor of them not issuing a bounty for them. Hence her warning the Hayato clan not to try anything, otherwise they'd be punished for that. Susanoo, Sister Susanoo snapped her out of her thinking. "Yes, brother is something the matter." Amaterasu responded to her brother, as he was also reading the same files as her. "Yes, I'm alright. It's just so confusing how the Hayato clan would want to go to such lengths to get to their eldest children, and for the Kishinami clan of all of them to defend them. Are we sure we aren't dead?" Susanoo chuckled a bit as he responded, "No, we're definitely alive. But it is amazing. I've been telling Kaji for the past decade that this feud will end up affecting whatever relationship he had with both Issei and Mari, which was non-existent until a few days ago. Now they don't want anything to do with them at all. Which I cannot blame them for. But do you think we should head to Ko to talk to them about it, and see what they have to say?" Amaterasu shook her head. "I don't think that is necessary now. If trouble stews, we'll intervene. But we should monitor Yasaka more. The fact that she's leaning more into Yukai supremacist views is not making me happy. We need to monitor them more." Scene change brought by Nyx bringing belt to ass to the Kendo club. Scene change. Ko Park. Draken was talking to Seiko, who had information to give him and Nyx regarding what is going on with the Citri and Gremory peerages. As she saw them, she immediately kneeled to them. "My lord, my lady, I have some information I wish to share." She spoke as Seiko's soul could only watch, breaking down. "What is it?" Seiko Draken asked. "My lord, Citri had instructed Ray to spy on Lady Nyx, saying that she may be of use to her." Draken had narrowed eyes as Seiko flinched at his gaze, scared of seeing his rage, with his aura seeping out before Nyx calmed him down. "Don't worry, lover, she won't even get close to me, not once we make sure that she's traumatized and outmatched." Draken nodded as her words as Nyx told Seiko to continue to give information to the pair. Rias Gremory is starting to worry. Her arranged marriage with Riser Phoenix is fast approaching. Her and her peerage are on a stray devil hunt right now. But she's getting erratic and has spoken with Sona Citri about the fast approaching bait. "Oh really, is that all?" Seiko nodded. "Yes, my lord, it is." Nyx nodded as Draken was thinking about their strike options for the night. "You're dismissed, Seiko. Continue with watching the Citri peerage. Tonight, the Gremory peerage will bleed to death. The witch, liar and bitch will remain alive for now. Nyx, you can take Kaneko and Akino. Kiba and Gasper are mine to kill. I'll extract their sacred gears as well, we'll need them. Take this." He hands her the judgment of Shamash and the Star of Eden. Nyx had a sadistic smile on her face as she knew the capabilities of the god keys Draken just gave her as she said, "Thank you, lover, see you later." She had him as she left and teleported away. Draken drew Black Abyss and Excalibur Morgan as he had a dark, evil smirk on his face. "Now then, Kiba, Gasper, let's play the game, shall we?" "Rias, tonight your family will see pain." As he walked away to kill the knight and bishop of the Gremory peerage as Nyx went for the queen and rook of the peerage. Thanks for watching this video. You really enjoy this video. Like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification. Don't forget to support and follow Untested Associate 24 for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story, link in the description. See you in the next video. Goodbye.